Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another pre-race episode. I'm here with my buddy Drip. Drip, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine myself. We've seen, getting straight into the action. We've seen pretty eventful D4, D3, and D2 races. Especially because it's the big one. It's Monaco. So I don't know. I wanna start with talking about the track itself. It's so narrow. Narrow. You got barriers left and right. Turns that are very very tricky to get them right. So I don't know, Drip. The first thing I would ask you is how cautious do you think the drivers are gonna be? D1 drivers especially. Are they gonna kiss the
Well,
wall
you
or what?
you said it right off the start. This big one. It's Monaco. It's everybody's either favorite or least favorite track. There's no in between. But it always produces some good fun. Even though it's not really a track that produces a lot of overtaking. I think D1's not going to be cautious at all. These guys are very precise with their driving. They're going to be pushing the limits the whole way around this track. I think there are some spots you can get away with a little bit of a wall bounce. The game is kind of forgiving,
Okay.
especially if it's the rear end, not the front end. So maybe we'll see a little bit, but I think they'll be pretty reserved
Okay.
in terms of how much they'll be trading paint with the aluminum.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing, but like, here's the question. I mean, especially during quality, right? Because it's full quality. So Q1, I'm guessing they're gonna leave what, like maybe 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeters of space. But then once the top 10 that get into Q3, like how much margin like are you willing to leave? Because eventually, like the safer you are, the slower you are. So
Yeah, I think with D1 we're gonna be seeing some F1 weekend esque those slow mos where you see them come around the wall and they're just kissing it.
yeah,
I think we're gonna be seeing D1 doing that in Q1. These guys push hard right off the start,
I
and
agree.
with the pace they have, I think we're gonna be starting below the 110s.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was my next question. Do you think we're gonna see 1.8, like low 1.8s,
I,
in
I
Q3?
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can
Easy.
definitely see that by the time we get to the end of Q3. I
Yeah.
think there'll be at least a few drivers in the eights.
Jeez. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tight. I'm guessing what between pole position and what and 10th place. I'm guessing there's gonna be maximum what 2/10, 3/10 between P1 and P10. I'm saying
I'll give it five,
5/10.
five
Okay.
tenths.
All right.
But it's you're hitting it right. It's going to be very tight out there.
Yeah. So
I think at one point in the D2 quali
uh,
or D3 quali, it was 1/10 split 5 positions.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I was talking to
Something
my
like that.
teammate like, yeah, you don't have to make that much of an improvement to get out of the danger zone there. So
And that's the thing, like like it's one good corner exit and 5 positions, like. But that's also
exactly,
adds like to the level of pressure from the drivers, like they know that they mess up one little corner and like they will have to abort the lap because like the guys behind them are coming faster and they probably won't mess up. So
exactly.
so yeah, another thing I wanted to discuss with you is strategy. Do you think that they're gonna risk it on Q2 and go for some flyer for banker medium laps?
I think the drivers that have a lot more one lap pace in them. A lot of our
Mm-hmm.
guys that tend to qualify in the top five may opt for a medium tire start.
Okay.
Does seem to be effective, especially with the fact that even though cars are blowing up in the middle of really tight sections and we're using increased safety car, we're still not getting any.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
don't really have to worry about that screwing up your tire strategy. I think
Mm,
it's a little more open this week, and that medium soft might be ideal.
okay. I think in D3 I think there was a virtual safety car, or I might be
Was
mistaken.
there a virtual? I kind of tuned out after my
Yeah,
DNF, but
I feel you. But I think it was
yeah,
D3 or D4. I think it was Friday or so. I
okay,
can't remember. But yeah, we did have like a VSC, but like half a lap, you know. And
yeah,
then
it's weird. They
yeah,
went from doing it every 2 seconds on this track to now it doesn't want to give you one.
yeah, yeah. It's weird, you know. Codemasters works mysterious ways. So
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, suppose you start on the mediums, you know, because I'm guessing like not probably out of the what out of the 20 out of the 15 drivers, probably what 4 5 start on the mediums. I don't know, like I feel like raw speed around Monaco, like it is more important, you know, like mm,
it's tough to say because it's going to be a lot of judgment around the field.
mm,
Like depending on who's starting on softs, who's
okay,
starting on mediums, if the drivers that haven't made a decision think they can optimize themselves around. Like I feel like a lot of people in the bottom half of the grid may even opt for a medium start, getting that free tire choice.
okay.
Or, I mean, the forecast for the D3 race had rain in the title, even though we never got any. It was showing that it was possible, so
Mm. Towards the
that could
very
add
end,
another
yeah.
element of surprise. Yeah, I think it was like the last 5-10 minutes it was
Something like that.
forecasted, but
Yeah, but then again,
who
yeah,
knows? I think we'll see closer to half the grid opt for a medium tire start if it stays dry.
yeah. That's all right. That would be interesting to see. You know, long stints. Because then again, you know, Monaco. I mean, it's. I don't think it's a track that has like a lot of tire degradation, considering like there's a lot of slow corners and. I mean, you might burn up the rears if trying to you know to put power too quick, but I mean, I've seen drivers being able to go 10, 11, 12, 13, even 14 laps on softs, you know. I mean, it's super old softs, like you start to see the graining, blistering on the tires, but I mean, you can't really overtake unless like you put a lot of pressure and somebody makes a
Yeah,
mistake, you know.
it's definitely a strategy based track, and it's going to be overtakes done through
Mm,
pitting at the right time, I guess you could say minimizing your pit time, not maximizing your pit time,
true.
because you want to be in and out as fast as possible. But in deciding, if there even is that safety car, and say you start on the mediums, do you even want to pit for that second set of tires? Like,
Yeah,
you could stay out and hopefully opt for some free real estate, but
exactly. And I mean, if you manage to if you get to manage your ERS efficiently, I mean, like using it on push, on in laps, out laps, I mean, you can't really get overtaken. You know, I mean, even if the guy behind them has DRS, I mean, you get a good traction out of what is it? I think it was is turn what 19, I think, the last turn, and then it's
yeah.
virtually impossible.
Yeah, that's one of the few spots that even seem safe to go for a move on this track. It's and that's the hard part too. Is you can think you have the opportunity to go for a move and try to stick your car down the inside, but not only do you have to think about, do I have room to make it around the corner? Did they have room to make it around in this now compromised defending position,
Mhm.
or are they going to hit the wall and bounce into my car?
Or is he gonna close the
So
door on me? You know,
exactly. Thinking
so
that I'm not gonna go for it
uh
because
huh,
it's Monaco.
like
So it's
thinking he's
it's
gonna
it's
fake
a
me or
finicky
something.
one. We'll see how aggressive D1 gets. There's
Mm,
still a little bit of a tight battle towards
mm.
P3 in the driver
The
standings.
drivers, yeah,
It's not split by too much, so could see a little bit of aggression going on.
it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of wanted to ask you again your power picks for this week in terms of constructors. Like to begin with constructors, do you think the big guys are gonna have a good showing, or do you think midfield and back markers are gonna step up?
Well, seeing as Mr. Honda himself seems to love this track,
Mm.
our wonderful admin Duncan, I think we're gonna have another really strong weekend from Red Bull.
All right, so the
They're going to
pressure
try
is
and
on.
push themselves further ahead. What do you
Interesting.
think?
I'm thinking, I don't know. I think Ferrari are gonna look to step up this week. I think they're under a lot of pressure from the Red Bull drivers, so I think they're gonna be up there. I also expect Red Bull to be up there, and I think I might be a bit biased here, but I think AlphaTauri is gonna be also a surprise pick because we got two really fast drivers who know their way around the circuit. So, like you say, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight.
Yeah, you can't sleep on those AlphaTauri drivers. They don't have the most amount of points, but they're also sitting on a DNF or two each, so kind of push themselves back down the grid. They're very fast,
I mean,
and we can
I'm
see
saying
them doing
because
well here.
we have two. I mean, they're new. I'm talking about Mr. Razor Zena and the reserve, the D2 reserve, who's also a Honda Academy driver, Mr.
I didn't
Eruption.
realize.
Yeah, he's
I
got
did not
oof.
realize. That's an even bigger
Yeah,
wrench of the mix.
yeah. That I'm telling you, like those two, they move. Like they can move pretty quick.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, that is true. They've been around for a while, and anybody who's been watching these races
Hmm.
knows that those two drivers have some pace in them. So
Hmm.
that'll definitely be something to watch out for.
Also, I don't know. I'm thinking after last race, I think McLaren has to show us something different for this race because they got what JMO and Jeffrey Lawler, aka Dago, two super quick drivers, but unfortunately they didn't have a good race last time around. They ended up DNFing. So yeah, I'm hoping McLaren is also
Yeah,
up there, like to see a three-way constructor battle around Monaco.
that
So
would definitely be nice. And yeah, McLaren's definitely going to be hunting for a result this weekend. They need some points. But,
exactly.
I think people should keep an eye out for Victor Diaz. Word
Okay.
around the league is he's been putting in a lot of
Yeah.
practice. So we'll
Yeah.
see if he can keep up to the own hype he's placing on himself.
Yeah.
So here's your call out, Victor.
There we go, Victor. The pressure is on. I mean, actually, for both the Mercs, because Travis, like I heard he's super fast. Like not super fast, but like he's fast and he's super comfortable around Monaco. So that's what I'm saying. I mean,
He does like the track.
we could see,
I'm pretty sure he won Monaco last year, if my memory serves me right.
not sure.
I I I,
I don't know.
I'm not sure, and we don't have the stuff in the Discord to
Yeah.
reference it, but
But
we'll
yeah, I
we'll
mean,
just let someone correct us in the chat.
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like someone let us know in the chat, and someone also let us know in the chat who do you think is gonna be your power pick for tonight's race. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm hoping to see the Merc boys out there, Ferraris, Red Bulls. 6-man
Full
battle.
max.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the pressure is on. So ladies and gents, don't go anywhere because Division One Monaco is coming right up.
Pre-race now. Here we go. Good evening. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. That means it is time once again for us to go racing here in the Zoom Racing League. I am live here in Monaco with my good buddy, Big Mama Frank. We actually got to share a track last night, and that was a lot of fun. And what a track it is, folks. 2.074 miles, 3.3 kilometers, 19 turns, 12 to the right and 7 to the left. Only one DRS straight. Big elevation change as you come through turn 1, stand to vote up through the twisty bits. Really tricky. You want to keep it away from the wall. Good overtaking opportunity if you are a Sebastian Vettel. However, it will immediately jump to Lance Stroll if that's how our camera is going to work tonight. It is round 5. We are here live at the historic Monaco, a track which last year saw a win, or last season saw a win from Travis Robinson, who at the time was in a Red Bull. This season, tonight, Travis Robinson is in the Mercedes, and his teammate Victor Diaz is not here tonight. But Big Mama Frank, Division 2 winner, Johannes Ludwig, filling in. The Danish boy wonder. What do you think we're going to expect here as we get ready to start full qualifying?
Well, I mean, I'm excited that we have Johannes in a D1 race for once. At least as long as I've been here, he has not done one. So I'm really excited to see, him compared to the best of the best that we have in D1. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for Razor to be back, although I think he purposely didn't race just so we could do Monaco and then he just retire again after this race. But
Baku's next week. He loves Baku as well, so this may be a 2-week return.
okay, maybe. But we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, the races so far have been pretty fun. We've had a lot of, kind of drama with certain things. We had Sid a little bit disappointing in qualifying, being held up by you and Adam in the D2 race last night.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But so far, I mean, it's been fun. I mean, we had even in D4, man, we had the Red Bulls 1-2 for the entire race, only for them to run into each other and give up the lead position. But still, really good race from Rick Raff there. But it's been a really fun weekend so far.
Yep, and usually Division 1 provides a lot of really good action, a lot of close racing. Speaking of Adam Klein, he is our McLaren team principal, one of the admins here in Division 2 for Zoom Racing League. We've got one of his drivers in here right now, the artist formerly known as Dago. It's Jeffrey Lawler in here in the McLaren. Looks like we got a little bit of a delay here on the start. Had an issue with the marshals getting something set up on the track so that we could do full qualifying. So we took this opportunity, wanted to pull you in, welcome you to Zoom Racing League, and get you on the stream. Tell us a little bit about you and your F1 racing experience. Have you been playing the games for a while, or are you pretty new at this? Because you're damn quick.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I started F1 2020 near the end. I just got it because the game was $9. Started playing that, liked it a lot on controller, but felt limited, so got a wheel. Started progressing. 21 came out and bought that game. Still was only playing open lobbies with my friends and started getting the league racing. And then I liked it, enjoyed it. Found out I had decent pace and just kept improving on that. So I don't know if I've been playing as long as the other people that are so good in this league, or at least in D1, but I know for sure that I can give them a fight. I think better than last week, I hope. But
yeah, last week was kind of a disaster for McLaren, but it's these things happen, and then you just recover and try to do the best you can. Is Monaco one of your stronger tracks? Is it a track you enjoy?
I actually haven't done many league races here. I think I've done 2 and I've won both, but that was a while ago. So really the main thing around this track, yeah, you need pace, which really it's a quality track, but other than that, it's just keeping it off the walls and just maintaining constant pace.
All right, looks like the lobby is back up. If you want to go and join real quick, or if you want to go ahead and join real quick. One last question for you. So you're pretty decent at Monaco. Haven't practiced a whole lot. Haven't done a whole lot of racing here, but probably expect that it's going to be a pretty good result if you can keep it clean. What kind of setup are you running on? Do you run a controller? Are you on wheel and pedals? What are you working with?
I have a G923, so I got a wheel and pedals, and then I just have like a next level racing seat. So just something simple. Nice.
Well, hey, we all start somewhere. Everybody started on a controller, or in my case, a joystick with an Atari 2600. So we all make our way up through the ranks. So, hey, Jeffrey, aka Daco, appreciate you stopping by, giving us a couple minutes, and good luck with qualifying. Good luck with the race, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me. Y'all have a good one.
Anytime. I want to do more of that, Big Mama Frank. It's nice to talk to some of the drivers we don't talk to quite as frequently. Basically, anybody but Ian at this point is who I want to talk to.
Actually, tell me. I don't really have much for frame of reference, but what is with you and your distaste for Ian?
I think it's more about his personality and his continued existence than anything else. No, it's it's nonsense. He's just a super energetic young kid, and so I like to mess with him. Looks like we are readying up now, so we're gonna take you over as soon as this loads in. So it looks like, folks, we are getting ready for quali. Hey, give us a minute here if you while you're waiting here. Give us a like and a subscribe, please. We got a poll up right now. Let's see how that's going. Who will be the king of Monaco? Will it be Hudson Hornet? Will it be my favorite Canadian, Travis? Will it be the Danish boy wonder, Johannes? Or are you picking the field, Big Mama Frank, by a margin of 57%? The viewers are picking Johannes.
That's not a bad bet. He just kind of outclassed all of D2 yesterday. Eruption, I think, has a pace to match him. He just had some issues with damage early on in the race, so he basically did the entire race with damage, so he wasn't able to keep up pace. I think though, even though Johannes is quick and just smashed us yesterday, I do think that he does have his hands full with guys like Hudson and Dago and Razor coming back, and Duncan is also a Monaco sweat. I think we just have like last season we had, and Travis is back. I mean, we have so many Monaco sweats in this lobby right now. This race, this qualifying session is going to be insane.
So the one person we are missing that is the ultimate Monaco sweat is Garrett Elder. I thought he was coming back for the weekend, but I haven't heard anything else about it, and he is not currently in the session. So little disappointed there. I was looking forward to the return of Garrett Elder. Looks like as we start, we'll go ahead and switch over to the race now. Looks like the lobby is up and going. All right, beautiful graphics there.
And yeah, looking at our telemetry here, we have a full wet race. Qualifying is going to be dry all the way through, but the race will start in full wet conditions.
Oh wow, that is something. Now, for a while there, it seemed like Division 1 was the only races where we got rain. And so we're going to have that again today. So the worst possible track for rain, if you ask me, because that wet qualifying was just horrendous yesterday. So what's the tip? What's the secret here to dry to wet quali? Is it just get as close to your wet setup as you can, but you're going to run 11 wings anyway, right? Like that's not a secret. But what do you do to maybe soften the car so that you may give up a little bit in quali, but in the race, you're going to be able to keep it safe?
I think because pace is pretty secondary, like Dago mentioned. What we'll probably see is everyone just go for their sweaty qualifying setups and not make any adjustments to their suspension or soften anything else up, and they're just gonna kind of deal with it in the race because track position is just more important than your potential race pace. I did my qualifying session yesterday when we were doing intermediate weather on my normal dry setup because I knew the race was going to be dry, and I did okay. I finished P4. In Q3, all of those were on dry conditions, but I do think that's the best thing to do here.
So let us know in the chat right now. Is there going to be somebody that shocks the world in qualifying? We know Peter Giordano is fast, Johannes Ludwig, Ludwig, Eruption's quick, Ian's always quick. We talked about the Monaco sweats earlier. As John Ranger goes out, does a side-in lap, and comes back in. Don't know if maybe he gave a little love tap to the wall there, but the Aston Martin out and back in very quickly. So all drivers starting to go onto their out laps now. Looks like we have Johannes and Eruption on the mediums. Also Razor Senna on a set of mediums. Just kind of rubber the track in a little bit and get yourself situated, get a feel for the track temps and what's going on.
So interesting to point out here is we have 3 drivers out on the track, or not necessarily out on the track, but 3 drivers that do have medium tires selected right now. So that is an indicator that they likely won't be going on the medium tires for Q2 if they make it through. I do think like at the higher levels of pace, the medium start is better on this track because you just have more flexibility with your strategy. You can either go long if you need to, you can come in quicker if you need to, and also you're just more consistent. The soft tires can kind of drop off and you can lose quite a bit of pace at weird place, and they kind of tend to overheat a little bit, particularly at the early start of the race. I guess we are in wet conditions, doesn't really matter. So yeah, okay. With that in mind, it doesn't matter what tires people get through. They're just going to get through the section since everyone will be starting in wet tires.
So I'm wondering, is we right on board here with Razor Senna on those medium tires, how much he's been practicing, if at all. I really haven't paid much attention to Steam in the last couple weeks to see what people are doing, but this is a very strong track for him. He and his old teammate Pilon used to just tear people up here at Monaco and at Baku, and so be interesting to see. And I wish we would have had a chance to talk to him beforehand and see if he's still going with the no ABS or if ABS kind of feels like a must at a track like Monaco.
I think he's doing ABS. I think also he's actually running PC too. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't asked him, but I'm assuming that is what he's doing based on what he was saying in general chat. But I mean, it's always interesting every time we have Razor in a race. We always mention which assists he might be running, even though I'm sure there are other people in D1 that do use ABS or even traction control that we just don't really think of.
Sure, like Duncan McCammock's one that has always used both. That he kind of knows how to cheat it and game it a little bit and be quick with it. but he just feels safer with it. And Razor Senna actually goes fastest with a 110.669, so 2,000ths faster than Anand on the soft tires. So very interesting to see such a quick time so early on. Spanini goes faster, 110.4 on the soft tires. So again, not super surprising there. Here comes Johannes around through sector 3 through Raskas. Duncan McCamick goes faster than Spanini. What can the Mercedes driver Johannes Ludwig do here? Reserving in Division 1, and he sets a 109.6. That's a really good first lap, I think.
Yeah, especially for medium run. So, and there goes Hudson with the 2. Yeah, will likely be probably be around 10 seconds. Will probably be about the cutoff for Q1. We'll see. I mean, there is kind of a gap in our lobby. We do have just some insane Monaco people and then some people that aren't so insane at Monaco. So there might be kind of a big gap between probably around P9, P10 to where we get down to P15. So we'll see where that cutoff winds up being.
Running on board with John Ranger. Had a little bit of a struggle there getting it through Portier down towards the tunnel. That can be a tricky corner. You don't get it right. It's obviously like the hardest corners, of course, are the Nouvelle Chicane and the hairpin to get those right. Rascas can be tough-ish, but yeah, for me, going through Portier right before the tunnel, that's one that's caught me out more than one time, because I feel like I always want to get on the power a little too early there, and you can get sideways in the tunnel in a hurry.
Yeah, it can. A lot of that, it will be based on your setup. If you're a little bit too aggressive on the suspension and the anti-roll bar, the car gets really snappy out of that corner, since you want to try to get on the throttle as quickly or as early as you possibly can. So it can be kind of feel and setup there.
Well, speaking of snappy feeling setups, Blake takes a little too much exit curb there out of a swimming pool and finds his Haas backwards, probably with a little bit of a wing damage. Let's see if he goes into the pits, and yeah, he does. He did give the wall a little bit of a kiss, a little bit of a hug, a little bit of a rub. Here comes eruption. Currently sat P11 on the medium tires, doing back-to-back push laps here. And he's starting a lap here. That was a slow cooldown lap, so he's going hard and fast. So we'll take you on board. We'll go full cinematic for my boy Siggy as we come up through Beau Rivage into Massenet through Casino, headed down to Mirabeau. The tight right-hander. I'm going to brake hard here down to about second gear. Going to go short shift up to third, down to first through the hotel hairpin. Get back on the power up to second gear. You want to take a lot of the curb here on the entry. He actually stays off of it. A little squirt of power back coasting through. Half throttle there. Early upshift to 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 by the end of the tunnel. You don't quite reach 8th gear. Brake just after the 100-meter board down to 3rd gear, then down to 2nd. Cut the chicane as much as you can, and then it's going to be a hard charge all the way down to back, down to 5th gear. Just drop the 1 gear and just slide it on through there quickly up to 6th. Don't lose traction through here, down to 3rd or 4th, depending on how you want to take swimming pool. And then you're headed down to Rascas, hard braking zone, down to 2nd gear. Some people like to take it in first, but 2nd's the preferred gear. Easy through here, through tightness, up to 3rd gear, heavy on the DRS, and you are down the main straight, and that is a lap of Monaco. And a lap good enough for P4 on the medium tires with a 109.9.
Yeah, those are some insane laps. I don't know if I'd be capable of anything of getting sub 10 on mediums. I mean, those are quite the lap. But the one thing to note in this track, like I mentioned before, is that the medium tires really aren't that much slower than the soft tires, because you're so slow through the whole track. It's more about just how much you can kind of feel those medium tires out, because they are a little bit more challenging. But like I said, they aren't very much slower, if any at all.
And from talking to some of the drivers over the weekend, the hards are not terrible. They're going to be bad for about the first 3 to 5 laps, and then after that, they kind of come into their own, and they're moderately competitive compared to the mediums.
Yeah, what you kind of see with the hards, when the pace is higher, is that fall off point for the mediums happens a lot quicker relative to the hards than you might expect. So after about 10 laps, suddenly those hards are equal to or even faster than you, just because you're able to just be consistent and do the same lap time every lap, whereas the mediums will be quick and then they'll start to fall off. So it can be... Oh, go ahead.
Travis Robinson with a pretty good lap here. A little hip check there of the wall as he was coming through swimming pool. What can he do? P7 on a set of mediums, 109.8. So that's a pretty good starting lap. Not that far off his teammate, 2/10. see, where was Damien? Damien is valid this time around. We tried to jump on board with Damien earlier as he comes down through this tricky corner for me anyway, through the tunnel. Let's ride on board through the tunnel. Such a cool thing. It's hard in the daylight though, because all of a sudden you come out, and if you have sensitive eyes at all, it is that light at the end of the tunnel is a shocker, as I'm sure most lights at the end of the tunnel are. Death reference. Oh, Damien gets a little bit squirrely out of swimming pool. Runs a little bit deep into Rascast. If he can keep it together here, he's at 107, 108, 109, 110. It's still an okay lap for his first time lap. 11.9. Not going to be good enough to get him through to Q2 for sure, but it looks like he's going push, back to back, push, push.
Yeah, the benefit of Q1 is you can just basically use one set of tires for the entire time and just run laps from start to finish, since you won't ever want to use those tires again.
All right.
And oh, go ahead.
Blake has not only fixed the car, but has it pointed in the right direction, has a valid lap, and goes P14 with a 110.5.
And seeing Eric all the way down with a 12.3 right now is a little bit rough. I'm wondering if he's going the Division E route and just running no assists right here, and that's why his times are so far off the pace.
So from reading some of the chat in the Division E chat, I think that's what he has decided he's going to do. He's been enjoying the Division E. For those of you who don't know, our Division E is a Tuesday night, no assists, esports rules type division that is open to any and all drivers. Right now it's currently full, but it was an outlet for some of our drivers that really wanted that more authentic esports type feel, to where everyone is running the exact same game. Everyone is on the same type of inputs. They have the same assists, which is none. And I think the only thing that's not enforced, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Big Mom Frank, is cockpit cam is not enforced, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you could actually enforce cockpit cam, and also cockpit cam in this game just sucks. Like it's just bad.
So that was the secret I did not let out of the bag last night, as my first race back in months in Zoom Racing League. I came into Division 2 and I decided to go ahead and run Monaco, which is always a great idea when you haven't been practicing at all. And to top it off, I went ahead and swapped over to cockpit cam because it feels more natural based on the other driving I've been doing in other games.
The issue with cockpit cam in this game is...
Oh, Eric, too deep.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that part of that right there is not using ABS. And so he's used to having the ABS catch some of that a little bit. And so he's not braking as hard because he doesn't want to have that lockup that'll just destroy the tires in the lap.
Yeah, maybe. One thing I realized when I was doing the Division E race also was I had to... I mean, one thing it's hard to kind of use. The references on this track are kind of weird, so it's hard to find a perfect reference, particularly for that last hairpin. But you also, when you don't have that line, you're trying to work out your braking line or your braking point. You have to brake a lot earlier than you might think, because there's not a lot of space if you do brake late. So if you brake late, you just wind up going into the wall like he did.
Tom Hatcap currently sat in P18. He is up over 6/10 as he comes around through Rascast. Nice, good, tight line there from him. Early on the power, early turn in. Got to keep it tight to that inside apex so you don't clip that outside wall as you come through. And what can Tom Hatcap do? He can go a 110.1, good enough for P12. And if he keeps this up for another 4.5 minutes, Tom Hatcap will find himself and that Alpine smack dab in the middle of Q2.
This is kind of what we were talking about earlier in the session. We kind of have basically two classes of drivers in this session for Monaco specifically. There's 8 tenths separating our top 10, but then from P10 to P15, it's less than 2 tenths. So it's there are some guys that are really fast, and then most people are human, and they, those low 9s, those 8 seconds in Q1 are really hard to get.
See what Razor Center can do here. No, it looks like he may have just started a time lap. Yeah, that was a 113.9. That's a Revis type lap. So speaking of which, Eric McNerney, you mentioned earlier the 112.3 and how that was really off the pace and really slow. That's my best time in time trials right now. So I would like, if you could reach over very gently and remove that knife out of my freaking back, Big Mama Frank.
I'm just gonna twist it. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I think my qualifying lap. One thing I didn't want to like sit here and toot my own horn, but one thing I when we did this race last season, I absolutely hated it. But this season, after more practice and being more comfortable just playing the game, I actually kind of like this track now. Maybe just because my qualifying times are so much lower than they were. I was over a second faster than my best time last season in qualifying. So
Nice.
but I don't know this track. Even though I hate it, and I mentioned the last broadcast we did this track how much I hated it, but it's not that bad. It kind of sucks that it's long and it's just kind of processional, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting to drive because it's so much different than every other track in the game.
That is for sure. I just wish it was a little wider. That would be nice. Razor Senna is sitting in P12, crosses the line, increases by 1 spot to try to further ensure that he will make it through to Q2. Next across the line is the Haas of Blake, I believe. No, it was the Haas of Anand, and he's still sat P17 as gets a little bit of traffic in the form of Damien ahead of him. So right now, your top 10, Hudson Poole, Jeffrey Lawler. Talked to Dago just before the race started. Had a little short interview with him. He said this is one of his strongest tracks. So far, so good. 109.3 in P2. Ian Krager, Boat Boy, in third place in the Ferrari. Johannes Ludwig running with the big dogs. P4 currently in the Mercedes, showing that, yes, he definitely belongs in Division 1. We all know he has the pace. The problem has been he hasn't been able to make the times, and until recently, we've region locked Division 1. And so if you are not a North American driver, chances of you driving in Division 1 were very, very slim. Well, we've been doing some research. We've been talking to some other leagues, and we're finding out that people are not having the same sort of issues we had. And so we're letting people in slowly from other regions. So I think for next season, Big Mama Frank, we're going to see a huge shakeup of the grid because we're going to see guys like Sid. We're going to see Johannes back in Division 1, and we're going to have truly, we always say it's the best of the best. It's the fastest of the fast. But then we're truly going to have that without a region lock.
It's going to be insane. Hopefully, if that happens, there's enough people that get bumped up in a D1, so I don't have to be at the back of the field the whole entire season. But dude, that Johannes and Sid and Eruption now and BuzzGod, adding all these guys to D1 will make for a really exciting Sunday.
Absolutely, you are correct, sir. Jason Peltzer, the Gator, currently sitting in P13 as he finishes up this lap. A nice little push down the main straight. What can he do with that Alfa Romeo? He can stay 2/10 slower there, so he's going to go push here, and is already invalidated at turn 1. So that's it for Gator. He cannot start another lap. 32 seconds remaining in qualifying, and the Alfa Romeo of Jason Peltzer is at risk, as is Tom Hatcap, as is John Ranger. So, bottom 5, Damian Doe, Anand Trivedi, Blake Reed, Colin Edwards, and Level X Logic, Eric McNerney, the artist formerly known as Bob Lala, currently currently in a P20. So one of these folks has got to do something. They have got to do it quick. Anand Trivedi has invalidated his lap. He was up on his time. That is it for him. He did not have enough time to cross the line. Goodbye, Anand Trivedi. That is the end of qualifying for you. Blake Reed is currently up or down 3/10 on his time. Unless he can pull out a miracle here in Sector 3, he will not be advancing. Eric McNerney into the pits. John Ranger, Anand Trivedi, Colin Edwards are done. Tom Hatcap looks to be safe unless Blake Reed can pull off an absolute 1984, a miracle on ice in Monaco on pavement. I lost where I was going with that. Unless he can do something absolutely incredible with that Haas right now, unless he just finds the amazing pace that we all know he's had that he hasn't shown just yet. And oh, a little bit of wheel spin there. That's a big cost as he comes through Rascast. The tight right-hander. Is he up on his time? Thinks about the pits. Maybe it was a little bit of wheel spin. I don't know. Can he do it? There's 7, 8, 9, and 10 seconds gone by, and he lifts 1.4. Too slow, and he will be going to take a break for 2 more rounds of qualifying. We say goodbye to John Ranger, Anand Trivedi, Colin Edwards, Blake Reed, and Eric McNerney. Your top 5, Hudson Poole, Jeffrey Lawler, Ian Krieger, Duncan McCamick with a 109.5. Damian Doe in the Alfa Romeo. Say it with me, folks. Buffalo Trace's favorite guy. Okay, your next 5, Johannes Ludwig, Spunny. Man, I got to wake up. Johannes Ludwig, Spanini, Peter Giordano, Travis Robinson, Jack Pemberton in P10. Jordan Angus, Eruption, Razor Senna, Jason Peltzer, Tom Hatcap going to have to do a lot of work here in Q2 if they want to continue and try to get into that top 10 in Q3. Hey, folks, We're so glad you're here with us tonight. We appreciate you hanging out and watching with us. Do us a favor if you could like and subscribe and comment and let us know which of those bottom 5 was the most surprising for you. Were you surprised to say goodbye to John, to Blake, either of the Haas drivers, Eric McNerney, Colin Edwards? Colin Edwards, I'm a little bit surprised at. I know he doesn't really love this track. But I thought we were going to see him in Q2 for sure. But let us know in the chat what you think. Now's a great time to run out, get you something cold to drink, get you some tater chips, and we will be back shortly for Q2 here. Folks, super sorry about that. Really apologize for that lapse. Don't know what happened there. OBS problems. I've got 99. Oh, I've got 1 minute and 9 problems. But Johannes Ludwig does not have 1:08.77. He drops below the 109s in Q2. What a lap from the Danish Wonder Boy. 1:08.7 for Johannes Ludwig as he pulls off to the side to let through Jack Pemberton, who is on a push lap right now. We'll pick up with Jack, but a 1:08.7. Really great start for Johannes Ludwig here in Q2.
Yeah, it's quite the lap. I'm excited to see what they're going to do, what these guys are going to do with Q3. If they're already getting low 9s and into the 8s in Q2, Q3 is going to be quite impressive.
I'm going to make sure I don't have anything else running in the background. I've never had a problem with the stream before, folks. This is a really strange feeling for me. I normally can perform at the highest level. Some of you will get the joke. Let me make sure nothing's running in the background that shouldn't be. Don't see anything. I know this is exciting streaming, folks. Yeah, the quality looks absolutely dog mess.
Looks good. We look good.
That's good. Okay. Sorry, it was my my browser had kicked it down to 144p. So Jack Pemberton sat in P9 with a 109.8. Johannes Ludwig 108.7, 109.0. Ian Krager moves up to P3 to 109.2. Oh, Travis Robinson, there we go. 109.364. So P1, P4 right now for the Mercedes. That was how they finished last night in Division 2. Johannes Ludwig with the win. Bronson Stafford, I believe, going from P8 all the way up to P4. Nearly sniffing a podium, despite having a little bit of an issue mid-race. So good news if you are Toto Rivosevic or me. And so yeah, good stuff for Mercedes. Red Bull, Hudson Poole in P2, Duncan McCamick in P7. Currently sat in the pits, 3 minutes left. So slowly running out of time to do anything else right now. Both of McLaren's show to be in the pits. No, I apologize. Spanini is starting a hot lap. We'll jump over to him real quick. See what the Spoon Dog can do here. Fake Ethan Patel, show us what you got in that McLaren, young man. You're running out of time. You make sure that you get through. Right now, you're safe. Right now, man at risk, Jack Pemberton, that 109.8. If you're Jason Pelter, you got to find that 10th right now. Damian Doe only needs to find 2 tenths. Jordan Angus, fully 6 tenths needs to be found. And Tom Hatcap is another 7 tenths behind Jack Pemberton if he wants to make it through into Q3. Jump on board with Jordan Angus as he finished up this lap. That is a purple sector 2 for him. That is his best sector 2 time. So Jordan Angus is improving here at the tail end of Q2 on these soft tires as he comes around through Raskes, through the ultimate turn. Nice and tight early on the power, early upshift. Go, go, go. Get that Williams in there, son. What can you do? The Canadian boy goes 11th. So P11 currently for Jordan Angus. He is currently safe, but there is still 2 minutes to go, folks, and there's a lot of stuff that can happen. Spanini is coming around to finish up a lap. He wants to make sure he's inside that top 10. He's currently there right now. Can he improve? Can he get up close to his teammate? He does. He goes just behind his teammate from P10 all the way up to P6, further sorting himself out and making himself feel a little safer. Razor Senna down in P7 improves, takes that spot from Spanini. His teammate Eruption has just started a lap. We'll check in with him again shortly. He is at risk. Jason Pelter has jumped up to P10. Jack Pemberton all the way down to P12. He's got to get something put together here. He had it safe. He had it in the bag. But as time ticks on, the track gets faster, and you lose out those spots. What can Damien do? Damien is still back there. Who is? Duncan's on an out lap. Hudson's in the pits. Next across the line is that Jordan Angus again. Jordan Angus up 2 tenths on his time right now with a push lap here. So Jordan Angus has a chance to move up and guarantee himself a spot in that top 10. Can he make it a P9 right now? Jordan Angus does go faster. Doesn't go P9. No, sirree, Bob. He goes P8. Well done to Jordan Angus. Good back-to-back push laps, improving his position both times. Is he going to go for a third push lap? His battery is saying nah. Eruption, you're pushed out. You're down. You're in the danger zone. You're P10. You're one of the fastest drivers we have. Mr. Austria. Good day, mate, from Austria. Up 4/10 remains. No, he goes into P4. Sorry, bit of a lag on my end. So P4 for Eruption. So he is safe and through, we expect, to Q3. I don't think there's going to be much more can be done here. Jack Pemberton, what's up with you? Can he do anything now? He is going to cross the line just in enough time, so he's got to have a perfect lap here. Does Jack Pemberton, the young Canadian goaltender, needs to find 2/10 at a minimum if he wants to push Duncan McCamick out, and he wants to keep that Aston Martin in for Q3. Next across the line is looks like it is Duncan McCamick. Here comes Duncan. He improves to P6. He says, no, sir. No, thank you. I will not be missing Q3 right at the end of quali. Almost no time left on the clock. And Duncan McCamick puts himself very safely in to Q3. Here comes Damien. He's up 3/10 on his time right now. He needs to find another 2 to 3/10 right now to try to get ahead of Jordan Angus. Can he do it? Damien Doe, P11. So disappointment for Donnie Three Putts, a.k.a. Buffalo Trace, is his driver. Both his drivers, as of right now, we will be saying a goodbye to them. Jason Pelter's out of battery. He cannot and will not improve his time. And Jack Pemberton, what have you got as he comes through the shim? Oh, he's up 4/10. Had a bit of an issue there, so we're going to say goodbye to Jack Pemberton. Who's left that can set a lap? No. Oh, what's Tom Hatcap up to? Tom Hatcap has invalidated. So there it is, folks. We will now say goodbye to both of the Alfa Romeos of Damien Doe and Jason Pelter. Jack Pemberton is going to go have a seat on the bench. Tom Hatcap is done. Peter Giordano never had a chance. But you got to expect with the pace that Peter has, the two-time Zoom Racing League champion, the Ferrari team principal, you have to assume that he would have probably been in that top 10. So for those of you in the chat that voted that Razor was going to be your surprise drop in Q2, you were wrong. And you owe the Brazilian man-child an apology, because Razor Senna is sat in P8. So right now you have both Red Bulls, you have both Mercedes, you have both McLarens, and both AlphaTauris, and but for a crazy instance, you would have both Ferraris as well. It's absolutely nuts right now. So it's Johannes Ludwig from Hudson Pool, Ian Krieger, Eruption, Travis Robinson, Duncan McCamick, Jeffrey Lawler, Dago, Razor Senna, Spoonini, and Jordan Angus. They're going to take a break here, catch their breath just a bit, and they are going to be killing it here shortly when we come in to Q3 for Division 1 of Zoom Racing League. And folks, I'm not going to touch anything this time. I'm just going to mute my mic and step away for a minute. So, last chance in qualifying to get something to drink. Yes, what's up, Mr. Adam Klein?
I have a word coming in from Race Control. I'm not sure if you guys talked about
We did
disqualification.
We did wonder what was going to happen.
We have Race Control has decided to not restart the lobby due to full quali. We understand that there is a precedent set in this season due to Sid's situation, and this being a very similar situation to Sid's at Spain. But we felt that with it being a full quali was not fair to everyone who's already put in over a half hour of work, going on 50 minutes of work to be told that we're restarting a lobby. So unfortunate for Peter. We all feel for him. Best of luck trying to make it through the field, but this is just one of those things. Like, he didn't know if he was going to ghost out in pit lane coming out of the pit exit, and Duncan trying to be on a burner. So as unfortunate as it is, we're not restarting the lobby, and he'll be starting from 15th.
Okay, so if I can carefully recap what I believe you just said, Red Bull sucks, admin abuse. Is that pretty well it? Yeah, it's unfortunate, man, and yeah, there's so in the real world we wouldn't be able to remake a lobby. In the digital world we can, and we do make exceptions at times. But unfortunately, this is one of those, like you said, all the work that everybody's put in. It's a full quality session. You know, we're already over a half hour of a lot of work for a lot of people. So yeah, it sucks to be Peter, but then Peter, you can be the hero at the end of the day. You make that recovery drive that we know you're capable of, and you can, big F you to anyone that decided you shouldn't have that have the right to have the lobby remade.
Yeah, and again, super unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure I witnessed last night in the D2 race that when you come out on pit exit right there, as long as you stay inside the yellow line, you actually ghost out and somebody can go through you. So
So wait,
because
is this word from Race Control and the McLaren Garage that Peter was actually across the yellow line and it's actually his own fault?
No.
That's what I heard.
He stopped short, and that's what gave him the disqualification. But I think if he would have continued out of the pits, and as long as he would have stayed in the pit lane exit inside the yellow line, then he would have stayed ghosted until he got to turn 1.
Yeah, it does ghost you. Yeah, until you get it right to turn 1, and then you're not ghosted anymore. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't look ghosted, but you are ghosted.
Yeah. So gameism. Peter didn't know that. He had not experienced that, and super unfortunate for him. But I mean, in all of our eyes, in a real scenario, he did the right thing by not impeding or crashing into Duncan on a hot lap. So sucks, but
well,
that's the way it is. That's racing.
A lobby remake may be happening anyway, as we see Jordan Angus leaving the session. A lot of people losing connection to Steam right now as Ian Krager goes fastest, the 109.1, Eruption 109.5 just behind him. Seeing a lot of folks losing connection to Steam right now. Jack Pemberton left the session and came back in. So maybe it's a Canada thing. Let's see who else is. Freddie Razzle, Tom Hatcap, Jason Pelter, the Gator. He's an American, so it went back home, but it still kicked me out.
Well, hopefully we don't get another issue like we had on Thursday night where Steam server, or like this game servers were just down for over 12 hours. So let's hope we're not getting another repeat of that. We have Ian with the 9.1 to start us out at the top of qualifying. So these times are already getting quite low.
Here comes Razor Center. Hudson Poole has now left the session as well. So we are having a mass disconnects. I really hope this doesn't affect the race. Jeffrey Lawler has left and rejoined. Razor Senna sets his first time lap. Goes P2, 109.45. So right now it's Ferrari, AlphaTauri, McLaren of Spanini next across the line. Would have been Eruption. He is done. Ian Krieger's going to go into the pits. He is done. So should be Duncan McCamick coming to start his first timed lap. So we'll ride on board with him for just a moment, and then we will jump over and check out Johannes Ludwig. No, sorry, it is my favorite Canadian, Travis Robinson. Comes through to set his first time in Q3, and what can he do with that Mercedes? Can he make it sing? He makes it sing all the way into P1 with a 109 flat. Great first lap from Travis Robinson. What can his teammate Johannes Ludwig do? Johannes goes even faster with a 108.8. So, folks, he did a 108.770 in Q2. He's barely off that time right now. He took that short little break, getting himself keyed back in here. And that time's going to go faster. That time, I'm thinking, Big Mama Frank, maybe I'm crazy. We might see a 108.6.
Yeah, we can definitely see something like a 108.6, 108.5 if everyone can kind of get this session going, because we still have Hudson out of the session. I think Dago might be out of the session still. And so those two guys are quick enough to do times like that, but hopefully they actually get the opportunity to do them. Yeah, Hudson is still out, so is Dago. I think Dago actually might probably get.
Duncan going very slow through there. I don't know if maybe he had a connection issue there shortly, but he sets a 114.7. He slowed down a lot for Rascast. I don't know what that's about. So let's see who's.
He must have just aborted and just decided to restart his lap.
Razor has invalidated, so he should be coming back in to fit a new set of soft tires Eruption is on an out lap, trying to burn off a little bit of excess fuel before he starts this push lap here. Hudson Pool lost connection as well. Restart after Q3. Somebody says yes. Jack Pemberson, Steam can eat feces. Weird situation here. So right now, nobody on a timed lap. Eruption on an out lap. He's going to have the track all to himself unless somebody comes out. So right now, your driver setting times. Johannes and Travis in the Mercedes, Ian Kreger, and then a pair of AlphaTauris, Spanini and Duncan McCamick. So Jeffrey Lawler, Dago, Jordan Angus, and Hudson Poole have yet to set a time, but all three of them have had a disconnect issue so far.
You know what I'm smelling here, dude? I'm smelling some Mercedes DDoS action happening right now.
Look, we don't even know what that spells, so it ain't us. I'm just going to tell you right now. You're using your big fancy college words right now, and you're going to make me angry. No, Red Bull's the only team that cheats in this league. I mean, there's a reason we call Weird Hacks Honda Tech. Eruption looks like he's going pretty well here. Just a little couple spots of wheel spin. I know he's on controller. I don't know what assists he does or does not play with. But man, a track like Monaco, now that I've driven it on a wheel, I can't imagine going back to a controller. It just seems like it would be so frustrating because you can't be quite as precise as he does set a purple sector 2. So that is his best sector 2 to date. Let's see what he can do here as he comes around the ultimate turn. Nice and tight. Early upshift into third. Early. Oh, little bit of a misshift there. Accidentally upshifted to fourth a little bit early there. That may have cost him a 10th, but he's still a 108.9. Good enough currently for P2 behind the Mercedes of Johannes Ludwig.
Yeah, he did. He is 2/10, a little bit more than 2/10 short of Johannes in that third sector. So if he gets that, he would actually be, if he can nail that third sector and do the same thing on his first two, he could pass Johannes, at least for now. Johannes still will go out again. So it looks like we finally have Hudson back in the session, who's finally on an outlap. Dago still has not set up a time, and he is still in the pits. Oh, and out he goes now. So it looks like everyone's back in.
Yep, riding on board with Jordan Angus right now as he comes through the hairpin down near the lovely hotel, down towards the tunnel section, nice and tight. Keeping it nice and clean so far is Jordan Angus. Can't tell how well he's doing on his time. I have telemetry on another screen that I can't see right now. So we're just going to enjoy the ride as Jordan Angus comes down into the Nouvelle chicane. Nice quick flick left back to right. Cuts the chicane nicely. See how tight he can keep it through to back. Pretty good exit there. Nice speed. Break at the bush there on the left. Oh, touch the wall just a little bit there on the exit. Not enough to cause damage, but enough to probably rattle you. Maybe a little Code Brown moment. And let's see what Jordan Angus can do. Currently sat in P9. Oh, he bumps the final turn of Rascas. So that's 2 wall bumps and still good enough for a 109.9 and P6 for Jordan Angus, doing a little wall riding.
No damage for him, so he still has the opportunity to keep going. I mean, I think he wouldn't really have much time to go back in and come back out if he did have damage. So luckily, no damage.
Sorry, folks, you're gonna miss just a moment of action here while I remove some inappropriate stuff from the chat, because we're not sending any Richard picks to anyone. All right, there we go. We're back on board with Ian Kreger as he finishes up a lap. Ian looks like he's probably having a pretty good sector 2 here. Ian, another one that is going to be making the upgrade from a Logitech wheel to a direct drive wheelbase, has it ordered, and he invalidates at the Nouvelle chicane. If he had the direct drive, folks, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, he had the fastest sector 1, but it invalidated. Now Hudson has the fastest sector 1 right now on his current lap.
It's right on board with the Hudson Hornet. And that is how you take the Nouvelle chicane, folks. That was a really good move there from him. Bit of debris on the track, not enough to cause a safety car or a VST, though. Game artifact, probably just a bit of a glitch. And here we go. How's this exit work for him? No wall bump for him. Stays out of the Armco barrier. Nice and tight. Good line there from Hudson Poole. And here we go. Another good line. Those young eyes doing good work for him. Got the thing hooked up. What can he do? He will go P2. So he splits Johannes and Eruption. So 3 really quick young men, followed up by younger than me, but I don't know how young he is, Travis Robinson, currently in P4. And the boat boy, Ian Kreger, young man in P5. Dago, let's check in with him as he comes around, sets his best sector 2 so far through a Rascast, nice and tight. Keep it at the arm.
There you
Cool,
go.
Barry.
Fastest first sector 1 and 2. This might be a pole lap.
Here it is. He told us. He told us on the stream. He told us at the beginning. He told us in the interview what he could do, and he does it, folks. He goes to 1:08.5, beats Johannes Ludwig currently by 0.3 of a second. Jeffrey Lawler, Dago in the McLaren goes 1:08.5. What a lap!
And now it's one heck of a lap. We still have Johannes is up 0.2 on his lap right now.
Ian Kreger currently in P6. Can he improve? Crosses the line. Yes, he does. Goes P3. Johannes up 2.8. Goes on pole. 1:08.497. He goes a sub 1:08.5. Does Johannes Ludwig, my favorite Dane, the kid from Denmark, does it. Sets a sub 1:08.5. What a lap. And he has got to be sweating right now. That is an incredible time. Next across the line is going to be Razor Senna. Can he improve? He is up 0.2. Currently in P8. Crosses the line and goes slightly better. P7 ahead of Duncan McCamick. So right now, Duncan McCamick, the owner, the big boss, down in P8, has got to improve that time. And where's he at on track? We got a couple drivers going to cross the line ahead of him. Where's Eruption at? Eruption up less than 1/10. Not enough time to do anything else than that. Can he improve over Hudson Poole, who is currently sat in P4? Hudson's done. Jeffrey Lawler retires from the session, says, damn it, I thought I had it. I thought I had it. 1/10 of a second. Johannes Ludwig says, no, son, that's mine. Here comes Eruption across the line. P5 currently. He's improving, but how much? Up to P3. So it is currently going to be Mercedes, McLaren, and AlphaTauri. Duncan McCamick will be next across the line. What can the boss do? Here we go, Duncan. A little bit earlier upshift probably would have been ideal there. Hope he didn't get any wheel spin. Here he comes across the line. Duncan McCamick goes P8 and stays P8. Spinini invalidated his lap.
Yeah, small improvement for Duncan there, but just not enough to move him up.
And that is it, folks. That is going to be the end of quali, and that is probably the end of my voice. I may have lost it a little bit. Those were some exciting times. Johannes Ludwig is on pole. The D2 driver who obviously has the D1 pace. The man who won this race yesterday. 1:08.497. Jeffrey Lawler, Mr. Dago in P2. So it is a Mercedes power front row lockout, followed by Eruption in P3. Ian Kreger in P4. Hudson Poole, the Hudson Hornet in P5. Travis Robinson in P6. Razor Senna P7. Duncan McCamick P8. Spanini and Jordan Angus round out your P10. If you are a Mercedes fan, you have to be absolutely over the moon right now. That was a lap. That was exactly why I always want Johannes Ludwig on my team.
And Steam and Cody's giving us a little bit of extra drama there, but sheesh, those laps. 100. He beats Dago by 100.
On the nose. Well, and Eruption does confirm in the chat. Controller Boy says 10 hundredths is 100. Good enough. Monaco is not a pad track. He is confirming what we already knew. Imagine Eruption with that same kind of pace on a wheel. I understand through back sources that Eruption has a wheel. He is just not ready to make the transition yet because of the expected time loss. Now, depends on who you are. Johannes Ludwig. Victor Diaz, perfect example. Went from controller to wheel. No loss at all. Freddie Razzle.
It's quite a bit of loss. He lost quite a bit. Barney's going to go through the same thing when he finally does his switch.
Ethan Patel, on the other hand, initial loss of time, and now is back very close to his original times that he was doing on controller. So I think it comes down to who you are and what you can do. All right, folks, last chance. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Freddie, if you weren't listening, I'm not going to repeat it. Go eat some chicken or throw it at somebody. We are going to start the race here shortly. Again, I'm not going to touch anything because I don't want it to bug out again. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Tell us who you think's going to win. Can Johannes hold it in from pole? Johannes had some experience in the wet last night in a wet qualifying. I don't know how many of these other drivers got that same experience last night aside from him and Eruption. And Spanini drove as well, right? So very, very interesting. Oh, Campbell OG, our resident statistician, says Travis with the exact same time as last season. Very interesting. Labib saying everyone is starting on slicks. So word early in from the paddock as they wheel the cars around to the grid that a lot of these people are expecting these moist conditions to not last very long, and that we're going to be seeing slick tires from the jump.
Well, that's surprising. The telemetry did kind of imply that we would be on the wet. So this is going to make the strategy really weird if it starts raining.
All right, they're already formed up. Let's take a look at the tires, and sure enough, everybody on softs down through P10.
Oh, it is raining. Okay, it is raining.
So this is going to be very interesting. If I was in this race, I would want Joel Goron as my engineer right now. Joel would definitely put you on the right strategy. This guy is the rain whisperer. So we'll leave you for just
I don't know, man.
Oh, go ahead.
We saw that D4 race at Spain, man, where both the Aston Martins, who were in great position to potentially get podiums, go on the slicks and ruin the race. So let's...
Joel slander. I'll have it tonight. Normally I wouldn't have it.
Well,
Tonight.
he does blame other people, but he still is their leader. So,
oh, sorry, 1 second again here, folks. All right, there we go. So, gonna form the grid back up and hopefully not have anyone kill themselves. I'm gonna step away 2 seconds, grab some water, enjoy this formation lap around Monaco. Big Mama Frank, if you want to sing him a song, do a little dance, and regale him with your wisdom while I'm gone, you go right ahead, sir. I'll be back in a moment.
all right, guys. We all know that Revis was like bribing Steam to start kicking Hudson out of this session. We all know that's what happened. Don't worry, I'll get to the bottom. As a steward, dude, we will award Revis with like 14 penalty points, dude, when we find him. We find his DDoS and computer. And people starting in mediums, these are some brave souls, man. So, for anyone who hasn't seen the weather forecast for the race, at least according to our telemetry, we have 76% rain expected up until about 30 minutes into the race, and it drops to 46, and at 45 it drops to 15%. So we should start getting no rain at that point. But I will be really interested to see if everyone stays on slicks for this. This is gonna cause a ton of mayhem, and I'm super excited.
Good news is I'm back. Bad news is I have wireless headset. I know exactly what you said the entire time.
Dude, I would say that right to your face right now, dude, if I could. Straight to your face.
All right, here we go. Revving them up. They're going to be away and underway here in Monaco. A lot of wheel spin from a couple of different drivers. Big move immediately from Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole, an absolute send around the outside of Ian Gregor. As Eruption hits the wall, Ian Gregor gets hit from behind. Absolute carnage here on this first lap. So it's Johannes from Jeffrey Lawler. Hudson Poole, Eruption. Duncan McCamick has moved up into 5th place. Ian Gregor's lost a spot. Spanini up into P7. Damian Doe in P8. And Anand Trivedi in P9. Big loser and all that. Razor Senna all the way down to P10. Or P20.
No damage for anyone yet, though, at least according to our telemetry. So everyone's still clean running.
Big movers so far. Anand Trivedi up 9 spots. Really good start there from Beamer. 4 spots lost for Travis Robinson, 2 for Jordan Angus, 2 for Jason Pelter, 2 for Tom Hatcap. Razor Senna leading the way with 13 spots lost. Peter Giordano has made up 2 after he was disqualified and started in P15. So already up to P13, and we'll see what kind of work the Ferrari driver can put in here as we finish up. Johannes Ledwig, almost a 1 second gap already over Jeffrey Lawler. Another 1 second back to Hudson Poole, who's moved up 2 spots. Eruption, fully 3 seconds back from Hudson. So we are kind of spread out in a way we don't normally see here in Division 1.
Yeah, we are seeing it was kind of messy for Eruption and Hudson, or for Duncan at turn 1, so they did lose a little bit of time there. Oh, a big snap from oversteer from Eruption as he goes into the pits there. I wonder if he didn't intend to go into the pits, but I think he decided just, let's put on some inters, this isn't working. Now what's interesting here is, like, if it's interweather time, Eruption's going to have the lead of the race, because everyone else is going to have to pit, and if they're quicker, then they should undercut everyone in the lead.
We'll take a look here as Eruption exits the pits and comes out into P15. We'll keep an eye on Johannes Ludwig and see what he decides to do as he comes around. Jeffrey Lawler and Hudson Poole starting to catch up that gap a little bit. So both the Red Bulls, not a bad start for them. Up 2 spots for Hudson and 4 spots for Duncan McCamick. Take a look at the tires here and see who's on what. So Peter Giordano pitted for a set of mediums. Eruption, Ian, Jack, John, and Razor all went to the inners. We'll see how long those last. As I can't really tell, the rain looks really light on my screen, as Eruption has a little bit of wheel spin on the intermediate tires as he comes out of the hotel.
Yeah, he's about 3 seconds down on that Sector 1 time for Johannes for last lap, so it may not be interweather. It may have been a gamble, but I don't think this is it.
If Johannes goes even faster this time around, of course he should, with it being the second lap. Hudson Pool into the pits. We'll see what he does here. And Johannes crosses the line. He does go faster with a 120.9. So the driver we're going to watch right now is we're going to keep an eye on Eruption as he comes through. DRS enabled, folks. That means it is not interweather. You will not have DRS enabled. Once that DRS is enabled, it is time to be on slick tires. Hudson Pool did go onto the inters as well. Let's see if Eruption goes back in, and he does. So it's 2 early pit stops for Eruption. Not an ideal way to start your race.
I mean, that's even worse for Hudson, who did go into the pits. So, nah. If it's still wet, if it's still dry tire weather, no, he changes wing. He's still on inters for Eruption, so he's sticking on the wet tires.
All right, so he's going to stick with it, try to make it work. His teammate Duncan McCamick is in P3, 8.7 seconds back from Jeffrey Lawler. And Jeffrey is just nipping away right now at Johannes to try to get that DRS here on lap 1. Johannes has got to keep it clean more than anything. Not worry about the DRS, because even with the DRS, it's very difficult to overtake, as Jeffrey Lawler has a little bit of wheel spin there, leaving the Nouvelle chicane. And here they come, the two of them just absolutely running away from the rest of the pack like they're not even there. The gap to Duncan McCamick has grown by another half a second. He's 9.3 seconds back from these two leaders.
Yeah, one big bonus for those guys, if they decide to go in now, which they do not, Hudson is stuck in traffic on those enters behind people on slick tires, and he just hit the wall, actually. I wonder if he has damage. No damage.
Travis Robinson decides to stay out, as does Spanini, Damian Doe, Jordan Angus, Blake Reed. Hudson Pool is our leader right now on inters. Wonder how much longer he's going to be willing to stay out on those. He's going to go ahead and stay out. He is praying that the rain's going to continue. And he's making good time, has a good exit here against Jason Pelter. Jason Pelter does have the inside line, the ability to defend. Hard to go too wide through Sandoval, but they do it, and they do it clean. And advantage.
Hudson has more pace on the inters right now. It's still close, but it's going to be really important to see how much time. He's 25 seconds back from Johannes, so if Johannes pit right now, he would still come out in front.
So Hudson's fastest lap right now is a 27.7. Johannes is a 20.9. So fully 7 seconds separate the two of them as far as their fastest lap currently.
Keep watching that delta. It just gets bigger and bigger. We're 25.6 now. 25 back to 25.5. 25.6 still. It 25.7. It's getting bigger actually. So this still must be slick weather.
It absolutely appears that way, because Johannes and Jeffrey have now put 11 seconds on Duncan McCamick. So in the matter of 2 laps, it went from 8.8 to 11.5. So fully 2.5 seconds. Hudson Pool.
He missed the Nouvelle chicane.
That's a painful penalty this early in the race for a kid that is really good about not picking up penalties. So you know that's frustrating. And what's hard when you're a young driver and you're used to not getting those penalties is how do you reset your brain to not be so mad about that you forget about the rest of the driving. Hopefully he's in a good headspace where he can do that, and he's going to stay out on the inners because he does not see the benefit in a second pit stop. And you know, I can't blame him. But he was 2.7 seconds faster that time around.
Yeah, before he is in clean air this lap relative to the lap before where he was stuck in traffic. But he's still losing time. He's up to 27.2, 27.3, 27.4 now to Johannes. So the slick tire is definitely the tire to be on. It's just the only thing you can kind of hope for now is for the conditions to change really quickly and catch Johannes out and they go off guard. But for right now, he's in a really rough spot.
Yeah, they are taking it nice and easy through the chicane right now.
Yeah, it seems like the slicks are still just at least maybe 2-3 seconds faster than the inters right now. So it could just be that those tricky situation or those trickies. We have McLaren who's around. I think that's Spanini. Yeah, Spanini has no front wing. He'll have to pit now.
And if you're Jordan Angus and you're Blake Reed, you hate to see that because he's going to hold you up to that last corner where you're trying to make up some time here to try to catch up to Damian Doe. Being that DRS train, I assume the DRS is still active. I don't know why it would have been shut off. Take a look here at Eric McNerney, see if we can see his rear wing. No. Peter Giordano all the way back down to P15, so right back where he started after the disqualification in quali. So not ideal there. Ferrari sitting in P14 and P15. Man, there's I imagine there's a few little cussy words happening there in Italian.
This is probably the most challenging conditions we possibly could have seen, where it's raining and you're on slicks. That's oh man.
Oh, Travis Robinson has a little bit of a moment, runs into the back of Anand Trivedi. I think he's a little bit faster than Anand right now, but Anand has no obligation to get out of Travis's way, irrespective of how much faster or slower either one of them are. So, unfortunate situation. We saw a situation in the Division 3 race where the AlphaTauris, or I'm sorry, the Red Bulls hit each other. That's Division 4. It was Mr. Robot and Fitz. Had a little bit of a tangle. Fitz was on the faster tire. Travis gets a bad exit there. Damien gets a much better exit. And Travis, don't know if he has maybe a little bit of wing damage right now from that bump with Anand. But seems to be struggling in a way that he wasn't just a lap ago.
Yeah, everyone's doing okay with wing damage. The only person with wing damage right now is Eric McNerney, and Anand actually has a tiny bit of wing damage too.
Meanwhile, Johannes and Jeffrey Lawler have put 14 seconds on Duncan McCamick, so that gap just keeps growing and growing. Like we may have had a moment with Hudson Poole. Somebody lost it in Sector 2. Hudson Poole just loses another spot there to Colin Edwards. The intermediate tires not doing their job currently for Hudson, so wonder how long he's going to hang this thing out, or if he's had enough and it's time to go to dryers. It looks to me like the rain is lessening. I don't see a solid dry line forming yet, but I think we're getting really close to the everybody should have been on slicks part for sure. Take a look here at Johannes, see if this time's improving at all.
He's still slower than his early laps, but he's still quite a bit faster than everyone behind. So he's in the 22s. Both him and Dago are they got in the 23s there that lap. So either could have just been a slow lap, or they're not running into traffic yet. So I mean, they're still on pace. So it may not be the conditions worsening. It could just be that it was just a rough lap, but we'll see.
Buzz got in the chat asking how the F did Anand gain 9 position. Anand is really good at race starts. He has incredible timing. He has a great reaction time. He always has great starts. As Hudson Poole does go into the pits, see whether or not he has any damage or if it's just time to get off those intermediate tires. It's a little of both, folks. It's a wing and things. So we got the wing. We got a set of yellow tires and really slow pit stop there. And unfortunate, he's down in P15. If you're Peter Giordano, who pulled over to allow Duncan through, rather see a Red Bull in pain than a red car.
Yeah, the big thing though is in terms of our drivers' championship. Even though Hudson's all the way down, the only person that's really kind of contesting him is Duncan right now. He's in P3. Ian's all the way back in P11. So even if he has a really rough race, he doesn't really make up any more positions to the end of the race. It won't be that damaging because of the lead that the Red Bull has kind of built already in this part of the season.
Big mistake there from Anand Trivedi. Travis Robinson is all over his gearbox. And that is Duncan McCamick around. Duncan McCamick around in the Nouvelle chicane, or in the swimming pool. Duncan McCamick has reset to track. He was facing backwards, and it looked almost like he got hit, but we did have ghosting on. So unfortunately, Duncan McCamick from P3 down to P6. Advantage Anand Trivedi, Travis Robinson, and Damian Doe. Duncan McCamick into the pits. Now Jordan Angus and Blake Reed will take those spots as well. So the boss has a bad moment, and one of the Mercedes is into the pits as well. Travis Robinson, what kind of tires has he fed? He sets a new set of medium tires. Didn't see if he had wing damage that he got repaired as well. But Duncan McCamick, absolute disaster from P3 to P7 in one corner.
Yeah, okay. Well, so that's a little bit of broadcaster's cursing. The second I mentioned Duncan, but we stumble. I mean, if these conditions continue, man, we're going to see more and more mistakes. I think we see a McLaren go really slow in turn 1, which was Spanini. If Dago,
Johannes gets a 5-second penalty. Now, the good news for Johannes is he has not pit yet, but Dago is still within 1 second of him, so that penalty is hugely important if you're Johannes. Now, as the track begins to dry, can Johannes create something of a gap here? Statistically, I would say no, because Dago has been flying.
Yeah, must have been some weird issue there with Eruption being lapped, or one of the AlphaTaurs being lapped. I'm not sure exactly which one, but he was kind of ghosted in the middle of both the leaders.
Side by side through the hairpin is Hudson Poole and Jack Pemberton. Jack Pemberton and Red Bulls don't always get along great. A little bit of a wheel bump. Hudson Poole does make the move stick. Not the best of overtaking zones. Very easy place to ruin and break your car and ruin and break someone else's race. But Hudson Poole does get the spot from Jack Pemberton. Now he's going to be tracking down his team principal and his boss teammate Duncan McCamick in P14.
Oh, Peterborough just damaged his wing, so he's going to have to box again. But a lot of people going in here.
We've got Jordan Angus, Blake Reed, and Peter Giordano all into the pits. So this is not a fun time. Gotta go over and clear the chat once again.
So one thing interesting with these times, Ian was the one who stuck. Ian is the only one who stuck with the inters, and his times are actually equaling this. And actually better than the slicks now, so it might actually just be straight up interweather now.
Oh, Jeffrey Lawler picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to be important. Hudson Poole goes faster on the mediums, 120.686. Nice side-by-side racing here. Blake Reed on Hudson Poole. Hudson not afraid to send it on the tight, twisty streets of Monaco, and he gets the spot past Blake Reed, who is going very slowly right now, but good side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel racing, good trust, no contact, and that is another position gain for Hudson Poole. 2 spots in 2 laps and places where you don't normally see overtaking.
I mean, Travis go deep into the Nobel chicane there, overtaking Ian, but he gave the position back. So, kind of correct what I was saying there. Ian has matching the leaders' times, but it might be the inters just might be a little bit better than old softs right now, but slicks definitely still seem to be the best tire.
And
as I mentioned, Ian goes into the pits, so.
Say something about Hudson winning. Jeffrey Lawler is taking the lead of the race from Johannes Ludwig. We did not see that move happen. So Jeffrey with a 3-second time penalty. Johannes with a 5-second penalty, 3 seconds for Eric McNerney now. Anand has a 3-second penalty in P3. Anand has just stayed out longer than anyone else because he was going very slowly earlier, but seems to have that Haas hooked up now. It looks like the rain may be coming down a little harder.
It kind of does. I mean, the times are still kind of where they were at the start of the race, though. So we might just be seeing the same conditions. You know, one thing that really stinks for Johannes is his penalty is a stop and go. So when he finally pits, he's going to lose 5 seconds in the pits that Dago was not going to. Although I'm really curious where Dago got that penalty. Is a 3-second penalty, but only 1 warning. So he may have just actually sent it into a corner.
Little snap as he entered the chicane, possibly. Sector 2, we got a slow car of, is that Eric McNerney and Tom Hatcap having a little tussle, a little rendezvous? And Eric McNerney looks to have his front wing, but
yeah, no damage.
Seemed to have missed his braking point there and just went straight on.
So now we have Dago looks like he's catching up with Eruption again. It looks like they're going to run into some traffic soon. I'm wondering how much longer they're going to go. 12 laps on softs, or 11 laps on softs is pretty long, even in dry conditions. But since the temperature's a little bit lower and you're going a little bit slower, you can stretch those a little bit longer. But I'm curious how long they're going to go.
Yeah, I don't know how well it works in this game as Hudson Poole goes fastest with a 1:19.4, so those times are starting to tumble. But in ACC, whenever you're kind of going back and forth and your tires start to overheat a little bit and you're in this mixed condition, you try to hunt out puddles. I don't know if it works the same way in F1. I haven't done a lot of wet racing here in the F1 games, but wonder how much that would help them to extend that tire life, if at all.
Well, the issue with this game, when you're in these conditions like this, the only time you start seeing puddles is when you see what the game describes as standing water, and that would mean, oh, here goes Dago into the pits. But that would describe that it's full wet conditions, so you don't actually see any puddles outside of those conditions.
So it's mediums for Johannes Ludwig. It is also mediums for Jeffrey Lawler. Jeffrey's going to come out way ahead because Johannes has to serve that penalty. Now, if you're Damien Doe, can you get around in time to get in front of Johannes? I don't think he's going to have the time to do it because it looks like Johannes, well, hold on, folks. Before I say too much, here he comes,
Outside.
and there he goes.
What
Damian
about the Haas
Doe.
here? Beamer, is this Beamer behind? Yeah, Beamer jumps him too. Beamer's already, he has not pit. So Damien and Beamer have not pit. The only closest one that has pit is currently Travis Robinson. So right now, Dago and Johannes are still the net leaders.
All right, so Damian Doe, Anand Trivedi, Colin Edwards, Jason Pelter with no stops, leading the field right now. It's a tie between Jack Pemberton and Ian Krager with 3 stops each. 5 seconds. Corner cutting for Eric McNerney, having a bit of difficulty in these mixed conditions. Johannes is going to be itching to get around Anand here as soon as he possibly can. Eruption picks up a 3-second time penalty. Eruption all the way down to P. Oh, and there's contact. There's contact there as Anand kind of loses grip there, and Johannes was ready to go, and hopefully that is not wing damage for Johannes, but
That's really big because now that Johannes has served his stop and go penalty, he won't have that penalty applied at the end of the race where Dago still will. So if he can catch up to Dago and stay behind him for the rest of the race, he will inherit the lead of the race when the race ends.
all right, so now what can Travis Robinson do? Can he get around? We got a yellow in sector 1 and 2, localized yellow for that is Peter Giordano. So, he's on the hard tires. Went on the hard tires and is trying to use his butt to move the barrier. I think at this point, after about 7 seconds of this, I would have just already reset to track. I think a small tight circuit like this, just like we saw Duncan McCamick do earlier, you just got to do it. Just be done with it. Colin Edwards into the pit.
You're so far back. I don't think anyone's going to take offense to you resetting. Also, we're at Monaco, so there'll be a little bit more, potential for forgiveness when you do things like that. And also, I think maybe Peter just be done with this race. He got disqualified in qualifying, and now he just had a really rough race since then. So it just has not been a fun day for him.
All right, Hudson Poole slowly tracking in Spanini. Spanini, very quick driver, has been away, recently graduated with a aerospace engineering degree. So very proud of that young man for doing what a lot of us set out to do when we were little kids, building airplanes, working on airplane stuff. So good job for him. I know his specialty is something in satellites. So very cool here. Needs to make that McLaren as big as a moon if he wants to hold off Hudson Poole.
That's going to be challenging. We see his flight flashing there, so he doesn't have a lot of battery. Hudson has a ton of battery to work with. Actually, no, that's just white condition flashing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the rain light. Good call.
Yeah, he's at 40% battery, so in this situation, in these conditions, you're not going to really be able to use as much battery as you'd like, but still, Johannes goes fastest.
It just keeps looking wetter and wetter to me, but these boys keep going faster and faster.
We have Travis with a nice run on Beamer here, or on Anand going to turn 1. Oh, Anand goes into the wall. Travis kind of bumped him in the rear and sent him into the wall. Oh, no.
Oh, bad news for Beamer. Good news for Mercedes. Anand was actually kind enough to engineer for myself and Adam Klein when we ran in the Haas last night. Another one of our good dudes, fun young guy, and unfortunate there. And I think now you probably, if you're Anand, you're thinking about that pit stop now.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is Hudson, who had a really rough start to the race, still has that penalty, will inherit at least at least one position with the non having to pit here and losing a lot of time.
Johannes gets the move on Damien just before the Nouvelle chicane. So he is tracking down Jeffrey Lawler with the quickness. So 8-second gap right now. If he gets that down to 3 seconds or less, Johannes Ludwig is on, what's the word I'm looking for? On pace to win this race. Damian Doe cutting that chicane, 3-second time penalty for him. And I wonder if he'll be coming in now. Maybe he's had enough of those medium tires. He decides to go ahead and stay out just a bit longer. Travis Robinson also picks up a time penalty, but can Travis do anything here with a ghosted Alpine in front of him? That's always frustrating. Don't know if Travis drives in cockpit view, but I've been hearing a lot of drivers here recently complaining about lap traffic ghosted inside their car in cockpit view, and you just can't see what's going on.
Yeah, it's really rough. We had issues with that in the D4 race because Fitz Dickwell does drive with cockpit cam, and when those lap cars are there, it's butt clenching scary, man. You just can't see your braking point. You can't see anything. It's hard.
So Anand Trivedi into the pits, all the way down to P9. Hudson Poole moved back up to P5. Duncan McCamick, his teammate, up into P7. So early disaster from Red Bull, but a nice recovery here so far. And let's switch cameras here for a second. It looked there for a moment like it had stopped raining, but there's definitely rain still coming down on the cockpit camera.
It doesn't look like the conditions have changed at all yet. we're looking at our telemetry again. We may have a little bit less rain when we get 30 minutes in, which is we're almost there. And then it should just stop about 45 minutes in. So right around the end of the race, we should see the rain stop. But it'll be. I'm curious to see how long it'll take before the track actually starts to dry.
All right, does Duncan McCamick have the cojones to do something here? He does not. He gets a slightly worse exit than Spanini. Spanini doing a good job holding his own here. Oh, until he hits the wall. Broadcast curse. Little wheel spin, little hip check, but he's still doing just fine. As long as he can keep it clean through the exit of this chicane, he'll be all right.
He has a little bit of wing damage, so I think he's gonna have to put in the pits. Oh, he stays out. Okay.
Flips the wall again. Little sparks there off the left wing tip of that front wing. Duncan McCamick.
Duncan by. Okay.
Very interesting. And Peter Giordano all inside of Duncan McCamick. Duncan also drives with TV pod, but it did make him, looks like, miss his braking point a little bit. He did run just a little bit deep there into Sandoval.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the benefit here is Peter is pretty quick right now since he's on fresher tires, so he should outpace Duncan. So it's not like he's just driving in the middle of them like we've seen some people do. So that's a positive.
All right, Nanchervedi back into the pits again, all the way down to P16 now at this moment. Right on board with Ian Krager here in P14, trying to catch up to Razor Senna. He's got Eruption behind him, so three really quick drivers in really surprising positions.
Yeah, they're probably just not ready for these conditions, man. Like, it's so hard to try to make your adjustment when you just sweat out these hot laps and time trial all week, and suddenly you're in a wet race.
We actually did have a suggestion from a former member of the league that we should have a wet time trial leaderboard. Turns out that was not a popular opinion.
Man, our time trial leaderboard just died after you guys stopped doing it for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, a nice cut of the chicane there for Razor Senna. Definitely got a warning there, but no time penalty applied. Ian Krager is going to be saying, hey, he cut the chicane. That's my spot. I get that spot. If he doesn't make the corner, he's got to give me that spot, as he was putting pressure on the Razor there.
The one thing I want to point out so far is we haven't looked at the lead in a little while, but it looks like Johannes is lapping about a tenth or two quicker than Dago every lap now, so he is gaining on him.
Still 8 seconds, so he's got to cut that by another 5.5 or 5.8 seconds minimum for that 3 second time penalty to come in. But if you're Dago, you just kind of running by yourself right now. No traffic ahead, no pressure from behind. You're not worried about an 8 second gap at this moment. You just got to keep your nose clean and keep your eyes forward. And right now, there's no traffic that he's going to run into until about turn 7.
Yeah, he just to keep it clean and just do what he's doing. Although 20 laps, so if he keeps losing time to Johannes will catch him. And it's crazy. We're hour and a half into our D1 race, and we're only halfway through this race.
And Antrevedi, who at one point was on for a podium, back into the pits again for a wing change and a set of hard tires, all the way down to P19. So the only driver he will finish ahead of at this time is Peter Giordano or whoever happens to DNF.
That's the surprising thing, though. It's like no one's DNF. These are really tricky conditions, but everyone's at least kept their car alive. And as I say that,
Eruption goes around and tries his very level best to lose his car. We had jumped on board just right when it happened, folks. Starting to get a half a tick earlier, and I'm guessing the wing's off that thing because he is struggling, and it is gone. Say goodbye, wing. That is a lot of carbon fiber repair that's going to need to be done.
Dago gonna lap him. Dago kind of bumps the wall too, but it doesn't look like he got any damage. That gives Dago a little DRS, so that'll help him in his being chased from Johannes.
Haven't checked in with John Ranger in a while, the other Aston Martin. So they're currently sitting P11, P15. I know Joe Goran was expecting a little more than that, but John Ranger so far having a pretty decent race. He's kept it clean, no penalties. Not sure what the warning situation is. Haven't seen him go into the pits for damage. So good race so far in tricky conditions.
Yeah, no penalties. That's a big thing. Like we've already seen a lot of people have issues with braking at certain spots where they're going to turn 1 or the Nobel chicane, where they just have to bail on making the corner because they just misjudge everything. So kudos to him so far for not having any penalties.
Ian Krager just slowly keeps roping in. Colin Edwards, he got the spot from Razor Senna last lap. Can he do anything about Colin Edwards here? He is sticking to him like glue. Colin Edwards, it looked like he was about to lose it there for a moment, regathered himself and kept it clean. They are nip and tuck here as Ian Krager gets a really good entry to the corner. See what kind of exit he can get down the main straight. He wants that Williams out of his way right now. He wants to go fast, and he can't go fast with that Sofina logo right in his eyeballs.
Yeah, we saw last season with Ian committing really hard to the medium soft strategy at Monaco, so we got to see him do a lot of nice overtakes that we usually don't see at this track.
Time's dropping even further. Earlier on, it was a 120 we thought was a good time in these mixed conditions. Johannes goes 117.6. So it is going to be tit for tat between these two for fastest lap and the race win. Johannes has taken a half second out of that lead. It was over 8 seconds, folks. It's down to 7.5. If the track begins to dry, we could see that suck up a little bit closer. And Anand Trivedi is out of the race. He is retired in the pits. No, I take that back. In the swimming pool chicane, Spadini picks up a 3-second time penalty. So we are saying a goodbye to Beamer NG. Anand Trivedi is done. He is out of the race. No safety car because Monaco's broken.
Yeah, not even a VSC. I was surprised by that. But from when the one time we got safety cars in our practice race this week, it took a car crashing out and a car spinning and stopping on track at the exact same time.
So it takes 2 cars wrecking. All right.
That's
Ian,
what it seems to be.
Ian, if you could take yourself and Colin out here. Oh, and he does give him a little bit of bump, a little bit of kiss there on the backside. Yeah, OG, you're absolutely right in the chat. That has to be a safety car. I don't understand. This track in particular is super bugged. I think we're actually tonight, Colin Edwards picks up a 3-second time penalty while he's feeling that pressure from Ian Krager, but they are catching up to the back of John Ranger. We were bragging on John Ranger just a little bit. There's a faster and faster time. Both of them just went a full second faster. John Ranger just letting both of these guys through. I wonder if he has damage. Ian Krager and Colin Edwards just go by John Ranger, and he just, nah, not interested. You guys go ahead. That's your race. I'm gonna run mine back here. But we're down into the 116.
Significant wing damage, so it makes sense why he would let them through.
Eruption with a 115.7. We are full dry conditions. Looks like the sun's starting to come out a little bit. I don't see any spray off the back of the car. I don't see any water on the camera. Peter Giordano goes a 115.4. All right, folks, here we go. With 17 and a half laps remaining, it's time. It's time for them to go super duper fast as we have a John Ranger getting a corner cut for cutting through the Nouvelle chicane there, but I mean, what else he meant to do? Oh, and he has a bit of a moment where he bumps into Razor Senna, and Razor was into the wall, it looked like momentarily, or was that Eruption? That was Razor Senna into the wall, a little bit of a bump there. Not purposeful on John Ranger's part by any means. Cannot assume that, but he does have that damage, and sometimes try to make an overtake and someone's got damage, you never know where that car's going to end up. John Ranger into the pits, Razor Senna up to P13.
Yeah, really lucky for Razor that he didn't get any damage, so definitely. Man, 14s. Yeah, you were right. We are in basically full dry conditions. Now, it's always a challenge to try to push like you normally do in a dry, and you might over push a little bit just because the track's not completely dry yet. But so far, people have not had too much issue.
And there's the concern, and you don't want to be one of those drivers that overestimate your abilities. But when a track goes from wet to dry and you start to feel that dry grip, that dry speed coming back, there's a tendency to want to push a little bit harder than you might could here. And I wonder if it's going to catch one of these drivers out.
Yeah, that's possible. And looking back in P5, Hudson is right behind Damien now. Damien still has yet to pit, but there are 2 lap cars just driving right in the middle of this battle.
So if you're Damien, do you need to pit on those mediums? They're not as worn and hot as they would normally be. And because it was a wet start, there's no requirement to fit a second compound. So he could just stay out and make that as wide as he wants, right? Until he feels that the grip is losing.
I mean, it is wet, but everyone did start on slicks. I still think he's required to still pit for a second set of slicks.
There we go. Time just keeps coming. We're going faster and faster by a second a lap. And speaking of faster and faster by a second a lap, Johannes Ludwig, that was a over 8-second gap, now down to 6.5 seconds. He is slowly reeling Jeffrey Lawler in right now. Travis Robinson sitting in P3. So it is an all Mercedes power podium as things stand right now. Let's take a look at the penalties real quick and see whether any of those are going to come into play as we near the ending stages of the race. Speaking of penalties, Blake Reed with 3 seconds. So Hudson Poole with 6 seconds. Oh, and Hudson Poole runs into the back of Damian Doe. Just runs straight into the back of him. Was not expecting that big of a speed differential. Damian says, enough of that. Go on through, homie. I'm not going to have you ruin my race because you're in a hurry and impatient to pass. So unfortunate that things like that happen, but wonder if Hudson got any damage at all from that.
According to our telemetry, he does not have any. And he does look pretty solid. He's getting the rotation in these corners, which are pretty tricky when you do have damage. Now it's up to Real and Travis. The issue here is if he can't get around Travis, he does have more penalties than him right now. Travis is just sitting on 3 seconds. Hudson is on 6.
So 12.5 for Johannes. Can he do it? What's the time going to be? 12.3, so he's even faster. So more than a second a lap they're gaining right now. We're getting down now close to the race pace. I think we're going to start seeing some 10s and 11s. I don't know if they're going to go much faster than that because there is some wear on these tires. These are not brand new tires. And
Yeah,
there's
these tires are going to start feeling pretty stinky once we start getting into real dry conditions because they've been on them for so long. Also, at the same time, we have Johannes with 2 warnings. So if he does get a penalty, then it's track position for these guys. So we need to keep an eye on that too.
Heater down to a 12.1. So if things hold sway here, we're going to see one of the Mercedes or McLarens potentially go down into the 111s here. Who else is quick that's getting ready to go by? Looks like Jason Pelter potentially. What kind of times he's setting right now? He is up 6/10 on his best lap. See what kind of time the Gator can do here as he heads down the main straight. You got anything for us? Jason Pelter into the 13s, 14s. So probably not loving that setup, but he did go a second faster than his best time so far. So still making gains, still making improvements. Here comes Dago, 4/10 faster. He's down 12.1. John Ranger, 3-second time penalty. What can Johannes do? Johannes, can you go a little bit quicker for us? And if he did, I didn't see it there. It is 11.7. So we're down to the 11s. 10s are not out of the realm of possibility.
No, they could get there. The issue is generally at this stage in the race, even if we were in dries, doing 10s at this point in the race would be pretty tricky. But I guess since they were driving in pretty cool track and kind of going a little bit slower with the wet conditions, their tire wear wouldn't be as bad. So they probably have more life in their tire than they generally would.
And again, I don't know how well it's simulated here, but right now you would, if this was a real race, they'd be going through a graining phase right now. So some drivers would be seeing a miserable drop off in grip until that very top layer, that top surface of the tire completely rips away and gets down to just fresh, clean rubber.
Ian goes into the wall there, right in front of Johannes. I saw a chunk of his wing flying all over the track, so he's gonna have to pit again.
Yep, that left end plate is gone, and that is just about race over for both the Ferraris. And Ian has retired it in the pits. He's had enough. I wonder if he had another wheel disconnect. He's had that happen to him several times, and they're going to retire that car, send it into the pits, and Boat Boy's going to head out to the harbor and go sailing.
Oh, the problem here is, like we've seen before, when you retire in the pits, this car's going to go back out on the track. I mean, luckily he's far enough back where he's probably lapped by quite a few people, or at least only lapped by maybe 2 or 3 people. But
so in this case, it didn't go out on track. I was watching the pit crew, and they put the side jack under it, like they would do when they're going to put it into the. So in this instance, it actually worked the way it's supposed to.
Nice.
It's very rare, very, very rare. All right, 5.7 seconds separates Jeffrey Lawler and Johannes Ludwig. So Johannes with a little over 10 laps to go, slowly reeling him in. But Jeffrey Lawler's already proven his pace. I mean, he came up and he showed up in P2. He told us he had good times here. He told us he liked to race here, that he was pretty good around here. And I'd say a P1 and 5.5 seconds clear of Johannes Ludwig. I'd say that's pretty good.
It's almost weird to say this, but it's almost unlucky for Dago that his penalty isn't a stop and go penalty, because now he doesn't get to use the advantage of the track position for Johannes. So Johannes had a 5-second penalty and had to serve it, and so it creates a weird situation where someone who had more penalties has actually had an advantage because of that.
Well, John Ranger, we bragged on you a whole bunch earlier, Haas, and you just lost the front ring of that Aston Martin. And in that process, Damian Doe had to cut the chicane to try to avoid him and picked up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to drop John Ranger, the French Canadian, all the way down to P17. He was in P11 when I bragged on him, so John Ranger, that one's on me, Haas. I apologize. Check out his teammate Jack Pemberton. Jack Pemberton going a little bit faster, up a whole tenth of a second there through the first sector, trying to make a move here on Colin Edwards. Right now, Jack Pemberton's just got to keep it clean. That 3-second penalty will come into play, but if he is quicker and get around him, he's going to start looking at Razor Senna and thinking about, you know, could I potentially get a top 10 here?
Yeah, maybe. He is on fresher tires. He's on fresher tires and the better tire at this point. These mediums are going to be feeling really we'll start feeling really bad for racers soon, but the hards start coming to their own right at the end of the race. But again, like because of the weird conditions, we may not actually see that crossover.
All right, there's the confirmation from the Ferrari garage. Another retirement due to wheel disconnection. So Ian Krager cannot wish hard enough for his new Moza R9 wheelbase and GS steering wheel to arrive in the quickest of fashions. Because that is 3 races now in the last 2 seasons that he has had a retirement due to a wheel disconnection.
Man, that must be. I can't imagine how frustrating that would be. You spend all this money on this really high end gear, and it just doesn't work for you when you need it. Like that would be like slamming my fist, like throwing that crap across a room kind of frustration for me.
Certainly. So right now it is McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo. McLaren is your top 7. So 2 McLarens, 2 Mercedes, 2 Red Bulls, and 1 of the 2 Alfa Romeos of Damian Does in P6. His teammate Jason Pelter still down in P13, 4.5 seconds back of Jack Pemberton. Jack still trying to put that work in on Colin Edwards. Made up a tiny bit of a gap here. Blake Reed's sort of close to Spanini for P7. Still about a second back. If he's not careful, he is going to lose that DRS. Spanini, very rapid. Blake, obviously a very good driver, but just isn't able to match that pace and keep close there. And if he loses that DRS, you know, Jordan Eng is still 20 seconds back, but a lot can happen in 9 laps.
Yeah, it really can. You know, another thing, Damian's on these fresh softs now, and he's starting to close his gap on Duncan pretty quickly. He does have the penalty, and Duncan still has yet to get a penalty, so he'll have an opportunity, I think. He will catch Duncan to at least get him on track position, but with 6 seconds of penalties, it'll be hard to build a big enough gap if he's able to get past him.
Ethan Patel in the chat throwing shade. Boat boy can't handle the water. Oh, Ethan, you're adorable. I can't wait for a life with less of you.
We have Hudson just right outside of Travis Robinson's DRS.
Jack Pemberton.
Issue though. Oh, go ahead.
Jack Pemberton does get that move on Colin Edwards through the Novell chicane. Almost lost it into the barrier as he took the exit there, but he does get the move done, and he is ahead right now. So the penalty for Colin Edwards going to play now into Jason Pelter's hands, as Jason Pelter is caught up to them. So he's 2/10 back, looking to move up into P12, either by pass or by penalty. And so the Gator chomping to get ready to go again. Razor Senna catching up to the back of Blake Reed now. I think those two had swapped positions temporarily. And we'll see if Razor can catch him back up. Jason Pelter, for all his trouble, picks up a 3-second time penalty, trying to push and catch up.
So we did go through a small stretch of Dago outpacing Johannes, but now it's kind of flipped again. Johannes is about 5/10 faster than Dago. Dago with kind of an uncharacteristically slow lap that last lap. Johannes still on the 2 warnings, so he still has time to close that gap.
Hudson Poole's caught up to Travis Robinson. He's now within his DRS, and once they finish up Sector 3 and come around onto the main straight, Hudson Poole's going to have the DRS on Travis Robinson. Does Travis have the... Travis should have the battery to defend, but he does not. He's actually been pushing, trying to catch up and create that gap. So Hudson not only has to pass here with 8 laps to go, he also has to break another 3 seconds away from Travis over the course of those 8 laps. So you're figuring he's got to be half a second or more faster once he gets past him, assuming he gets past him.
Yeah, he's still too far back, I think, this lap to try to make a move. Also, Travis, I think, is going to get DRS from a back marker here.
I'll keep an eye on the back of that Mercedes, see if the Ineos, I think Ineos is a watch company, chemical company. I don't know. I don't care. I'm the team principal. I should know these things. And did not see his back flap open. So it looks like he did not get the DRS from the Williams there. So poor play there from the other Mercedes power unit for not giving the boy a DRS.
Well, at least give Colin props there for actually, playing the blue flag correctly for once. Getting out of the way of the leaders instead of just ghosting through them.
Really well done there. So congratulations to Colin for a good fair play of sportsmanship. Johannes has cut out half a second on Jeffrey Lawler, and he is absolutely ripping through Sector 3 right now. Now, what can he do? Now's the time to push. I think you're gonna push real hard for about 3 laps, build your battery back up, and then push for the final 2 laps. Does that sound about right to you?
Well, he has to do everything he can every lap because if he's not going to be able to outpace Dago by a second at the end of the race because their pace is too similar. He's going to have to just keep incrementally doing it every single lap. But right now, Dago is just doing well enough to maintain his lead. And also the issue is if Johannes pushes too hard and gets that warning, then it just kind of invalidates his advantage.
So he's sitting on 2 warnings currently.
He is on 2 warnings.
Okay, Jordan Angus and Blake Reed swapping positions there for P8, P9. Jason Pelter has dropped out of the DRS of Jack Pemberton, so that big move, big push that he had going is now looking to be all for naught, as he's not going to be able to catch up to Jack Pemberton unless something miraculous happens on his end. Hudson Poole is just staying within the DRS of Travis Robinson. Jordan Angus has already lost this DRS toe from Blake. They're both sitting on the same penalties. Spanini's got another 7 seconds. Another 10 seconds he's got to make up to Damien to make them equal on penalties to where he could potentially inherit P6 in the McLaren. Does not look likely to happen at this stage. And right now, Hudson Poole is just, I mean, by a hair, finer than a frog hair width out of the DRS of Travis Robinson as they come around the swimming pool chicane headed towards Rascas. Can he close that back up? It's currently 8/10 through the detection zone. They went, and does he have the DRS? He does indeed. So the back flap of that Honda will open up wide, allowing extra airflow through, less downforce, much faster, slips through, and can he catch up? And no, he actually doesn't make up any time. It was 8/10 when they exited the final turn, and now it's down to a second. So Travis Robinson might potentially be running a lower downforce setup, but he's running away from him on the straights. But Hudson's catching in the corners.
I think he's just doing a better job getting solid exits coming out of that final corner. It can be really tricky to nail every single time. And Hudson might just be over pushing right now because feeling desperate, thinking he has to get by Travis to make up time. Because Travis is only on 4 warnings, so he would have to cut at least 2 more corners in order to even those penalties out.
Oh, further shade being thrown at the Ferrari power units. Anand Trivedi also in the Haas, the Ferrari power unit Haas controller disconnected. So 2 major technology failures for the Ferrari power units. Not a great sign if you're Peter Giordano, who is still currently sitting in P14. Well, I mentioned earlier that Jason Pelter needed to get a move on, needed to start getting angry, start getting ornery, and he's caught back up to, he's made up 7/10 now to Jack Pemberton. Less than 6/10 separates the 2 of them. They are currently the closest battle on track, followed by Damien, following Duncan McCamick, and then Hudson Poole, who once again slips out of the DRS of Travis Robinson, but still has time to make it up over the course of the rest of the lap.
Looking back towards the leaders, we have Johannes with 3/10 quicker than Dago with 11.5 versus 11.8 on the last lap. Coming around the final corner again, so we can see the difference here. Oh no!
And there we go. We are now dead level even on penalties for the top 3. So Hudson Poole, even if he were to push as hard as he could, still going to find himself on the outside looking in. Duncan McCamick too far back to catch up and make anything happen with that. However, the man who's not too far back is Damien Doe. Damien catching up quickly to the back of Duncan here. There's a yellow flag. Looks like Colin Edwards may have had a bit of a moment. Peter Giordano inherits that position from him down in P13. So slight, he's two positions up from where he started. He'd like to be much, much higher than that. But can Damien do anything here to Duncan McCamick? Can he put that Alfa Romeo into the top 5? Well, no. He has 6 seconds of penalties. He can't do anything like that. So best he can do right now is follow Duncan around, not get any more penalties, and make sure he keeps that gap clear behind to Spanini. Eric McNerney picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 6 seconds down in P17. I'm not sure why, but Freddie wants to see tires. They're old and they're tired. There you go. 23, 23, 27, 28, 27, 7, 29, 5, 25, 28, 21, 27, 21, 21, 23, 21, 21, 7 lap old softs for John Ranger, who gets a 5-second penalty for his trouble for speeding in the pit lane. Tires at this point, everybody's on sleepy tires. That's why Damien's been able to keep up with Duncan Mechanics so well. That's why Blake Reed's been slowly closing that gap up to Spanini, but not enough time, not enough real estate, not enough laps remaining for him to do much of anything here. John Ranger comes out on another set of softs, and the only thing you got to figure here is he's just trying to steal away that fastest lap point. Hudson Pool into the pits. What is the Hudson Hornet up to here?
I think he's just going to try to snag fastest lap. Duncan's still far enough behind where he'll still be behind when he comes out. And so now Hudson's just going to push on the final lap to try to get fastest lap, which he should easily do. Fastest lap right now is 11 flat. And no one else is around except for maybe John Ranger can snatch it.
So if you're Johannes, do you come in right now and grab a set of softs to try to do the last lap?
Yeah,
Fastest lap.
It's not a bad idea. It might be too late for him, though, because he...
If you're Dago, you can't do
it. Yeah, he could do it now.
If you're Dago, you can't risk it, because if Dago goes in, Johannes stays out. He doesn't care about the 1 point. He wants the 35.
Yeah, Dago also is kind of out of the championship because he's only done two races for us, so he's not going to really be able to compete for the constructors.
Okay, Johannes stays out. Travis Robinson coming through the Novell chicane. Does Mercedes go on the alternate strat here? Does Travis Robinson have enough one-lap pace in the race to compete with a Hudson Pool, with a Johannes, with a Jeffrey Lawler? My gut says no, but my hopes and dreams say, come on, Travis, you can do it. And he opts to stay out, finish the race, and guarantee his P3. So as it stands right now, folks, with 1.5 laps remaining, it looks like it is going to be McLaren, Mercedes, and a pair of Red Bulls in 4 and 5. Damian Doe, P6, Spanini, P7, Blake Reed, Jordan Angus, and Razor Senna. Round at your top 10, Eruption picks up another 3-second time penalty all the way down in P16. Had a decent race. I don't remember where he finished in the Division 2 race, but I know he and Johannes were pushing each other pretty hard, and so not a great result here tonight. And his second, I think, showing in Division 1.
Yeah, not a bad race at all. And we have Hudson looking like he's going to set the fastest lap here.
All right, Jeffrey Lawler is going to lead us around. Dago has been on absolute fire ever since he handled himself so well in the wets. He took the spot from Johannes Ludwig. Johannes picked up a 5-second penalty for a corner cut, I believe, and that gap never got below 4 seconds until now. So he maintained the gap he needed to maintain. He maintained the pace he needed to maintain. And Dago is going to, if he keeps it clean, and there's no reason to believe he won't, because he's had an absolutely clean race sitting on the 1 3-second penalty, he's going to bring that McLaren home to the winner's circle. We're going to have an ecstatic Zach Adam Klein Brown. Clickbait's going to be in here to talk to us. Hudson does go fastest with a 109.6. A very important point for the constructors to so that Red Bull can remain ahead. But right now, advantage to Mercedes in this showing, and here comes Jeffrey Lawler for the final time through Rascass, 4 seconds clear of his nearest competitor. A really good masterclass. He started in P2, and folks, he brings it home and goes P1 in the McLaren. It's Dago! Jeffrey Lawler wins the Monaco Grand Prix of the final season of Zoom Racing League F1 2021. Johannes Ludwig comes across P2. Travis Robinson in P3 has just got to keep it clean here through this final sector. No reason to believe he won't. And even if he doesn't, he just got to limp it home because he's got a 10-second gap over Hudson Pool. And here comes Travis through the final turn. John Ranger has an unserved time penalty. He's done. So Travis Robinson comes across the line. It is P3. It is a double podium in the absence of Victor Diaz. Johannes and Travis pick it up for their teammate. Go P2, P3. Here comes the Hudson Hornet in P4 and Duncan McCammon, the boss man, in P5 for Red Bull. So really good points from our leading constructors, with the exception of the Ferraris. Gonna have to do a bunch of regrouping. I know that Ian's new wheel is on the way. I know Ian is very good at Baku, does not like the track, but is very good at Baku. And that is it for the Monaco Grand Prix for 2022 Season 4 of F1 2021. Driver of the day, Blake Reed and the Haas. You can't really argue with that. I believe you finished in P8. Really good recovery from him, and it's nice to see a Haas up near the front. Strut your stuff, Dago. You have earned that celebration, young man. Sure do like to see those two Mercedes flanking you on either side.
And I mean, he definitely showed Dago definitely showed what he's capable of. I mean, we saw him get P2 at Spain, but just crash out on his own in lap 1. Kind of robbed us of what he potentially could have done that race, but it's nice we finally got to see what he can do, and I'm really excited for what he's going to do for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. So it's Jeffrey Lawler, Johannes Ludwig, Travis Robinson on the podium, Hudson Poole, Duncan McCamick, Damian Dospanini, Blake Reed, Razor Senna, Jordan Angus round out your top 10. Jack Pemberton, the Canadian, and P11, Jason Pelter, Peter Giordano, Colin Edwards, Tom Hackap, Eric McNerney, Eruption, John Ranger, and Ian Krager, and Anand Trivedi round out your top 20. That is round 5 done for us, folks. We will get some podium interviews here shortly. Let us know in the chat right now. We're waiting on the drivers to show up to the podium. Any of that surprising to you? Was there anybody that you thought, yeah, there's no way they're going to finish there? It's going to go badly. Jack Pemberton, 4 pit stops, medium, inner, medium, inner, medium. If he picked the right tire to begin with, how high could he have flown today?
Yeah, it's definitely disappointed with, with Ian that race, but I mean, it wasn't really his fault. But even then, he still had issues before that. It just seemed like whoever this race was, whoever could keep it clean and just do a one-stop strategy were the ones that really benefit. Anyone who tried to go on the inters, it clearly didn't work, and it lost them a lot of time. But a really nice race from a lot of people that's today.
Yep, I keep grabbing the wrong guy. Stay there, Johannes. Stop trying to get ahead of your teammate. All right, somehow I kept grabbing Johannes instead of Travis Robinson. Travis Robinson, 2 times in a row, your vacation has been canceled because of storms. So you show up, you actually get to race in Monaco, and wouldn't you know it, it's wet.
Yeah, that was I don't know. I find it kind of funny when the races start like that and it's just so much uncertainty, but makes for an entertaining time.
Absolutely. So was there ever a point where you were like, man, I don't think I'm on the right strategy, or once you guys kind of got set in what you wanted to do, you knew that it was the way to go and you just had to commit to it fully?
I knew it was going to progressively get drier as the race went on, and I don't know, the formation lap was kind of sketchy, but it just didn't feel full inter. So I saw a couple people dive in early to grab the inters, and I just paid attention to their times, and they weren't improving. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm on the right strategy by staying with the slicks.
So the slicks seem to be. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so Travis, last season, I think your pole time for Monaco was about the same as what you did in Q3 today. How does it feel to see those different times that with you doing the same time but still finishing qualifying 3 in P6? How does it feel?
I was on for a lot faster of a lap time actually. Did I really only do a 109.0 last season? Oh damn. But no, I was on for a lot faster of a lap time. I think it was a 108.7 with my Delta, and then I just unfortunately lost the rear end a little bit and had to save myself, so dropped all that time. But I don't know. It was a bit of a carnage at the start there. I kind of got pinched into the wall. Luckily, I didn't pick up any damage. And just was able to climb back to my field through the field after dropping to P11. So yeah, P6, but in qualifying, but didn't affect me too much in the end.
So at the end of the day, you didn't get to do a whole lot of practice because you had other plans until the last moment. I think the question I had with the medium tires, obviously you didn't have a lot of chance to play with a wet to dry scenario, but on those medium tires, when they start to get old like that, but you've driven with them in the soft, do you feel that wear at the end of the race, or have they been kind of preserved in the cooler, wetter conditions?
They were preserved, like they were at about 45%, and I pit at lap 7. I tried to do a bit of a undercut. So they were only at 40%, definitely held on, but you could see my lap times. I was like 4 seconds slower than what I was running when they were at like 20%. So I was struggling towards the end. I was sliding around a little bit, and Hudson was giving me a lot of pressure up until the end, and then he boxed. But yeah, I felt the tire wear for sure.
Was there any reason that neither you or Johannes went in for the to try to get the fastest lap point?
Well, Hudson was 8/10 behind me when he pit, so if he had a good outlap, he would have instantly have overcut me. So
Gotcha.
undercut me. Yeah. So it would have ended up losing points in the end.
Okay, fair enough. Good to know. All right, Travis, thank you so much. Congratulations on the podium, and we will talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye. All right, P2, the guy that I thought was gonna 100% win this race, and for a long time he was leading the race. The young man from Denmark, the Danish boy wonder Johannes Ludvig, back-to-back podiums here at Monaco in Zoom Racing League. How you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I'm not happy right now. I'm quite disappointed, but yeah, it's okay. It's really hot right now.
I mean, you can't be mad. You can't be too mad because Dago had amazing pace. Like you guys were separated by 1/100th of a second in your final times in qualifying. So he's right there on pace with you. But do you feel like maybe you made a mistake? You did something that cost you the win?
No, actually not. Maybe there's 3 second time penalty, but yeah, we had an incident where I got 5 seconds. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. What happened with that? We didn't see the
yeah,
incident. We saw the penalty pop up.
Yeah, it was down to the chicane, right after the tunnel. When he did the move the inside, and I didn't have any room, or I could crash into him, so I had to cut the chicane a little bit, and then I got 5 seconds. I had to serve in the pits, and yeah, it ruined a lot because we were so similar on the pace. So yeah, it was hard to gain that back, and then he got the 3 second, and I just pushed all the way, and I got a 3 second last 10 laps or something, I think so. So yeah.
So was there any consideration at all for you to come in and get the try to get the fastest lap point, or were you just concerned about the race win at that point?
No, I think the stewards have to look on the incident between me and Jeffrey. So I wouldn't pit for the fastest lap. I wanted to be in between the 5 seconds. If yeah, I will talk to the team principal of Mercedes to maybe talk about what we should do about the incident.
Okay, well we can definitely take a look at it. Go ahead, Big Mama Frank.
So Johannes, now that we've kind of seen that D1 is opening up the Americas restriction, do you have plans on trying to do D1 in the next season?
I would love to, but I have school Monday, so yeah, it's 4 a.m. right now, and it's Monday today, so I will have to go to school in about 4 hours. So I can't do it, unfortunately.
Well, I'm super glad that you were here today. It was it was disappointing to think that Victor and Travis were both going to be gone. And when you said that you were willing to stay up, I was super pumped. And then turns out Victor still couldn't be here, but Travis's vacation plans got canceled. So got to see two of my favorite drivers driving together, and hopefully we get to see that again in a future season.
Yeah, I have vacation for the next 2 months, so maybe it's not the last time in D1. So
Oh, that is fantastic news. Well, it was a P2. It was a win last night, and it was almost a win tonight. So good stuff from you. Go get some rest and have a good day at school.
thank you.
Bye. All right, so we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We had to remake the lobby, which is always super frustrating, especially when you got full quality and it's just it was just a simple mistake. It happened, and we decided. I made the call. I was like, let's just get somebody in to talk to kind of fill that time because our pre-race show had ended, and there's only so much talking that I can do that anyone is willing to listen to, and there's only so much listening to me you want to do in the course of an evening, Big Mama Frank. So we asked in the chat, does anyone want to come in and talk? And little did we know at that time that we were talking to future race winner Jeffrey Lawler, the man we know as Dago. He told us he was pretty good here. He told us he felt pretty good about this race. He didn't tell us he was going to go and just wipe the floor with Johannes Ludvig and put it on P1. Dago, how are you feeling, bud?
I am feeling exhausted, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll bet. That was
But
quite a race.
I'm also happy at the same time. It's just hard to be excited because it was just so tight.
So the mixed conditions are always super, super tricky, but it seemed like you had a pretty good handle on. Have you done any practice in the wet, or you just kind of know how to handle the car?
I mean, I did like half an hour of time trial beforehand, and it was in the dry. But what the most interesting thing to me about that whole session from quality to the end of the race was I did an 8.6 in time trial, like an 8.65, and I went a tenth and a half faster in quality. I did a 8.5, so that was my PB, and Johannes beat me by like I think a hundredth or something like
Yeah,
that.
like on
It
the
was really
nose.
close.
Yeah, it was like an
Yeah,
8.67 and a 9.5 or 8.57 or something crazy. Like it was ridiculous.
yeah,
Really great lap. So congrats on the PB, and it will be preserved forever in ZRL history.
yeah.
So Dago, now that you actually finished your first race with ZRL, do you have 100% win rate when you finish, dude? Do you want to keep that up, and can you keep that up for the rest of the season?
I mean, as long as I just don't DNF lap one, I feel like I have a good chance.
Well, that is the old Michael Schumacher quote: "To finish first you have to finish," and you finished first, so you are the Michael Schumacher of this race. Really great win. It seemed like you had the strategy down pat. We talked to the other guys about the tires, and did you feel like the tires were getting ready to give way at any point, or did they feel still pretty good there at the end?
I don't remember what if you're talking about the mediums.
The mediums, yeah.
Oh no, the mediums were fine. The softs were terrible. Me and Johannes were drifting the whole first stint, and I think I pitted like lap 14 maybe. I don't remember what lap it was, but the whole time, like they started to drop off like really bad. Like even when I got past them, like they got worse. So I just decided to go for the undercut. He just decided to follow me, which didn't play in his hand. Um, but yeah, from then on, I already knew that I had a big enough gap and good enough pace that I didn't really need to push. I just needed to keep it off the walls and keep it within the white line. So now the mediums are fine. I didn't have any problem with them. The only thing that really sucked was just driving through lapped cars. It was so hard to like concentrate on braking points and trying not to hit a wall.
So
But
this came up during the broadcast. We talked about it. Do you drive with the TV pod or cockpit cam?
I
But
drive on the TV.
okay, thank you for not saying chase cam. I would have probably just banned you from the league if you said that.
Yeah. Oh no, I've been driving on
Okay.
T-Pod ever
So
since.
that's a little bit better than cockpit when you once you get into lap traffic, but yeah, I understand how frustrating that can be. Well, that is it for us tonight. That was a great win, and hopefully we'll get to interview a whole bunch more. Should we just start interviewing you before every race just to ensure the win?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm down for whatever.
All right. Well, welcome to the pre-race show. Your current and future race winner, Dago, and we will talk to you later, buddy. Good job tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, Big Mama Frank. We thought there might be some surprises. Was hoping to see a positive surprise from Razor Senna. Not the best finish for him. Had a little bit of a rough time. Not as rough as some of our other folks, but all in all, moderately exciting race. We had some good side-by-side action we don't normally see. Saw a lot of bravery, a lot of commitment out of Hudson Pool, making some cool moves there through Sector 2, and interesting conditions, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the time where we had a race start in wet conditions, but we never actually got into wet tire situations. So that I can't imagine how difficult that would have been. I mean, I was complaining yesterday having to do intermediate conditions in qualifying. I can't imagine how hard that was.
Yep, super silly. Sorry, I was typing something in the broadcast chat. So, well, that's it, folks. Appreciate you guys sticking it out with us. Up next, Baku. We're gonna go back to back street circuits. The scene of my infamous season 2 beaching of myself, and hopefully will not be a repeat for one of our drivers. And we may have a special appearance in Division 4 from a certain me. So we will see what happens there. So he's been Big Mama Frank. I've been Rivas Toto Rivosovic once again. And we thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for spending a long evening with us. Thank you to all of our drivers for providing the entertainment. And thank you for everyone that supports us and lets us go digital racing here in Zoom Racing League.